Sport.
Welcome to the 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round with ABC Sport.
Front and centre, Bobby Hill, where he should be, where he always is. Bobby Drill's got a couple.
Hello, I'm Charlie King, an ABC broadcaster and a proud Gurindji man. Over my 30 years in broadcasting, there's no disputing that Australian rules football has had a challenging history with its Indigenous players. From the heartbreaking...
Adam Goods has gone over to the crowd here and pointed quite demonstratively.
Adam Goods on the bench, clearly upset by what's happened here.
Kicks it inside 50, Goods the target, one-on-one, takes the mark, little nudge, plays on and goals.
Chorus of boos around Subiaco Oval.
What a terrible pit he should end like that.
To the groundbreaking.
I declare Gavin Wagon there the 1993 Brownlow medalist.
I mentioned tonight that I was the first Aboriginal to win it, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my heritage.
And of course, the breathtaking.
Hand pass to the runner, Franklin in full flight, Buddy, unguarded, goal square, got it. That's exactly what that man can do. The ultimate entertainer.
The Sir Doug Nicholls round.
We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. This round is a chance to focus on those that lead the way and set the standard.
Please have conversations with your kids, your friends. Have those uncomfortable conversations, because that's the only way, like I said, that we're going to move forward in this nation.
Like all who play at the highest level, our Indigenous players have a varied path to the bright lights of the AFL, and this round lets us celebrate those journeys and hear their stories. This game is brilliant.
High up and under, Raken upstairs with the hang.
And our Indigenous players are brilliant.
It spills to Dudley, he's so deadly.
And I believe we can use that combination to make everyone better in all walks of life.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
So sit back, reflect and enjoy the call as we celebrate our culture and shine a spotlight on the best Indigenous players in our game.
Took a bounce, runs to 45, kicks on goal. That'll give him something to cheer about in purple. Rioli in the goal square, sockers it through. Up by Pickett, who bounced it through. He's an excitement machine. Hands it to Powell-Pepper. Rioli shines to the footy and then slams it into the hill.
You're listening to the Sir Doug Nicholls round with ABC Sport on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Thank you, Charlie. Welcome to headquarters. It's a double at Docklands under the roof today in Melbourne, but what a day to be at the home of football with clear skies and two teams that are, in the eyes of many, real contenders for the flag in 2025. My name is Quentin Hull. The continuation of Saturday footy on ABC Sport brings you to the G, where the Hawks will host the Lions. A Hawthorn team which just beats Brisbane for fun of recent times. They've won 5 in a row against the Lions on a day where Chris Fagan will celebrate his 200th day in the coaching box for a Brisbane team that, well, used to have a real foible about coming to this place and winning. But, boy, winning a flag helps, doesn't it? They've won their last 3 at the MCG, the Lions. Preliminary final against the Cats, of course, grand final day in stunning style against Sydney, and then beat Richmond here earlier this year. So the MCG doesn't hold as many fears for Brisbane as it used to, but both teams come in off the back of losses last week. The Hawks were brave, albeit beaten in Darwin by the Gold Coast Suns. 8 points was the margin there. It was just the third loss of the season for the Hawks. While for Brisbane, what do we make of their form? Shared the spoils with North Melbourne in Hobart and then were gorned in the last quarter by Max and the D's at the Gabba, with Melbourne scoring an upset victory by 11 points. So 7.5 wins for Brisbane, 2 losses, 7 wins, 3 losses for the Hawks, and a bit of late news out of Hawthorn as well. Jarman Impey, who didn't travel north on parental leave, he's been given an extra weekend off, so he was named to play today, Jarman Impey, but he won't play. So Finn McGuinness, who was due to be rested, he is into the team for the Hawks and will actually start as the sub today. So it's Gunston in, Meek in, both didn't travel to the Northern Territory. Connor Nash is back from suspension as well, with Ned Reeves out injured, Cal Shadir and Bailey McDonald dropped. While for the Lions, they got Kadeen Coleman back last week from his ACL, but he's a bit sore after 2 VFL games and 1 game back in the AFL. He's not playing. Connor McKenna's been dropped. Jared Berry returns from the concussion protocols, and Dev Robertson is into the team, and he will be the sub in what is his first game of 2025. Crowds building up. You could not want for better conditions as we get close to winter here in Melbourne, and it's fantastic to be alongside Joel Peterson to share the call. Joel, window open, Melbourne sunshine, albeit weak. It's coming down. We could not have wanted a better scene for, I think, a game that most of the competition wants to have a really good look at.
Yeah, spot on, Q. Great to see you. Good afternoon to all our listeners. It is an intriguing game, a bit baked into it, of course. It's fitting that Chris Fagan coaches game 200 against the Hawthorn team, with which he was so involved through such a prolonged period of success. And, you know, teams will always talk about the fact that you don't win premierships in May. You need to win them at the back end of the year. You don't need to be playing your best footy now, and neither of these two teams are. But you also don't want to be trying to find answers at this time of the year. You want to be implementing solutions. So what can these two teams put into practice today? It seems like Hawthorn's game is on the right track. We probably thought that about Brisbane getting some players back, and then a little bit of a speed hump over the last 2 weeks. So where are they at? Where are the Hawks at? And here at this great venue, Sam Mitchell hasn't lost to Brisbane. There is so much to play for this afternoon. It's very, very exciting. And two teams that, when they are up and going, play some of the most attractive football in the competition.
It's set up for a great twilight fixture here at the G. We'd love your thoughts throughout. You can get in touch on the SMS. The number is 0437 774 774. 0437 774 774. We're doubling up on Petersons today. Great to have Karen Peterson, Blues AFLW skipper, and All-Australian Chad Wingard in the box as well. Kez, Chad, great to be in your company for what promises to be, as I said, one of those games that you get to this point of the season, Karen, and I think that the competition, you sort of, is the result going to matter here or there? What are your thoughts coming into this one?
Yeah, g'day Hugh, g'day Joel and Chad. It is great to be here on such a great occasion to celebrate Sir Doug Nichols round. It's a good question. You've set the scene really well, Q. I think wins at this point of the season really do matter, especially when you're going up against another, potential top 4 side. You want to bank these wins, particularly Hawthorn, who have absolute aspirations to be playing deep into September and have the capabilities to do so as well. So I think we're set for an absolute cracking game today.
And Chad, quick good day to you before Auntie Joy's welcome to country. How are you?
Yeah, going well. I'm really looking for a contest. I think we've had the game earlier today that we're trying to find out where the teams are at. GWS and obviously Carlton, and now we've got a game here. Who's going to be a contender? So, yeah, great to see.
We'll get down to Poppy Penny on the boundary in a moment, but Auntie Joy with welcome to country.
Round here at the MCG on Wurundjeri country, and I'm so proud to say that this is a part of my father's country, and I'd like to pay my respects to him, to all ancestors, elders and communities across our great nation and neighbouring islands. I would also like to acknowledge the 10 years of Sir Douglas Nichols round, our uncle who was a tiresome worker and achieved so many things. I want to especially acknowledge our players from country, wherever they're from, acknowledge their family and their country. And of course, our beautiful performers, equally so. And to you, I want to acknowledge who you are and where you come from. And as my father said, be proud of who you are. You know who you are. Today is a special event, another one, of course, during our First Nations round, and I'm very honoured to be a part of the Hawthorn Football Club. And can I say at this stage that we may move from club to club whenever we work, because we need to work with everyone. And that's a message for you as well. It comes from the gift of the managum of who we are. I'll take a leaf on your behalf, hoping that you'll accept it. If you do, it means that you are welcome to everything, from the tops of the trees to the roots of the earth. It also means you join with us to honour the spirits of our ancestors who have nurtured this very land here for thousands and thousands of years. Thank you for coming today. Good luck to Brisbane Lions and, of course, to Hawthorn. May the best team win. And my language is the Woy Wurrung. Womenjakar Wurrunju Balik. Yemen Kundi Big. And you are most welcome. Nojkanwa.
Thank you to Auntie Joy. And some ditch before the players break. Seven Indigenous dancers are out front, facing the members stand. I reckon there's a 10-year-old among the 6 adults, and he is having a great time as a part of this dance troupe. Thank you. And a good flair with the dids at the end. Thank you, indeed. Poppy Penny's down on the boundary. A perfect time to introduce you, Poppy. I think that's the conclusion. Yep, the players are looking around. And the coaching staff breaking up. Indeed, that is the end of Welcome to Country. Welcome to you, Poppy Penny. What a day to be on the boundary at the MCG.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful down here. And you mentioned the sort of youngest of those dancers. I was watching him. He was right in front of me as they were sort of getting ready to get onto the field, and he was just staring around in awe. You're right, he's having the greatest time. It's an absolutely beautiful day, as you mentioned. Down at ground level, there's barely a breath of breeze to speak of. The flags are going across the ground, which we know at the MCG means it's generally going the opposite direction once it gets inside the stadium. So there is a little bit of a breeze, but nothing really at ground level. As you touch on, Jarman Impey is a late out for Hawthorn, out for personal reasons, and Finn McGuinness comes in and will start as the sub for the Hawks. Connor Nash, Jack Scrimshaw, Cam McKenzie and Connor McDonald make up the rest of the Hawthorn bench. And for Brisbane, Kai Lohman, Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft and Darcy Wilmot will start on the interchange, and Devon Robertson will be the sub. But it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day. It's so gorgeous down here. I'm just glad it's not yesterday's weather, Q.
Yeah, you could not have wanted for better conditions for twilight footy at the G. Carl Amon's out in the middle for the Hawks, and Cal Archie, the predominant of the representatives for the Lions, an exchange of gifts. And Hawks are kicking to the city end after the toss. That SMS number, by the way, 0437 774 774. Marcus in Koroy asked, is there a queue at the G, or are you all scattered? No, I'm actually here with the guys today. Nice to have your text. Could you address the fact that Brisbane have only had 3 home games against the Hawks since 2008? Yes, in that 5-game winning run for Hawthorn that they've had against Brisbane, 2 here, 2 at Launceston, 1 at Docklands. They are due to play in the yet-to-be-fixtured final round of 2024. So keep your text 2025, should I say, round 24, 0437 774 774. Chad Wingard, Karen Peterson, your final thoughts before we get the first bounce of this highly anticipated clash?
I'm just hoping for a close contest. I reckon it's going to be a lot of fire going on early. We've got a lot of ins from Hawthorn, and I'm just hoping to see Nashi back out there. I'm looking forward to seeing him, obviously after getting rubbed out for the high hit. Really looking forward to seeing him back out there, and yeah, hopefully both sides at peak of their powers. Who's going to be a contender this year? I think this game's going to sort a lot out.
I think it might be the day of the small forwards. We might see Charlie Cameron back into form. We know Kyle Oman's had his struggles this year. And up the other end, Watson and Ginnivan, I reckon, might get cracking for the Hawks.
Giants by 28 points across town earlier today. Twilight footy at the G. It's the Hawks hosting the Lions. Here's Joel Peterson.
The two pre-season premiership favourites meet in Sir Doug Nichols round. Meek and Fort engage in ruck. It's slapped down and picked up by Zorko for the Lions. Got the handball away to Fort. Looking for Bailey by hand. Pinched by D'Ambrosio for Hawthorn. Spirals a kick inside the forward 50. Floats over the head of Watson, and Gunston goes to ground inside the defensive 50. Taken away by Answorth. Handball to Payne. High up and under out toward half-back. Reaching over the top is Amon to bring it down. But straight to Lockie Neal, who scoots away on the outer side wing. Kicks on the bounce toward Hipwood. Barris is right there with him. And now Ward, who backtracks for Hawthorn, looks defensively, kicks in that direction. He finds Battle at the top of the back 50.
And goes right across half-back from left to right. Kick marked by Morrison. Kicks to the members' wing. And the looping Chol takes the mark. Never seems to waste a sinew of energy, does Marbior Chol. True centre wing members' side as he takes the mark, kicks to right half forward. Gunston's behind Payne, has to spoil away and punches it out of play. There's a line about Jank Gunston being the best 3-club, 1-club player. People forget that it was somewhat the acrimonious end to his one season at the Lions. He played a lot of games in 2023, but did not play in the finals. Boundary throw in right half forward for the Hawks. Kneels under the pack, gets tackled, and we'll see another ball up.
Harry Morrison doing the tackling for the Hawks. Tossed up across half forward here for the brown and gold. Newcomb able to rumble it inside the forward 50. Ginnivan out there along with Sicily in the long sleeve, and a stoppage 45 out from the Hawks goal. Blake Hardwick starting in the goal square opposed to Ryan Lester after kicking 3 last week. More at the stoppage for Hawthorn. Handball to Morrison. Now back to Jath. Standing start. Kick straight into Neal, who batted it down. And now it's picked up by Charlie Cameron. Races to the wing. Knocks the kick over the top. A looping ball. Cut off by Battle. Combines with Jath to get it to Barris. He kicks a copter high up toward half forward. Fort and Meek both missed it in the air. Dunkley picked it up. Got the kick away under the pressure of Moore. Across the centre square. Bailey's there in the wrestle. Now the advantage. The free kick to the Lions. Rayner all into the 50. Weddle's there with Hipwood. A little nudge. All okay according to the umpire. Morris had it and lost it. Goes back into the mess. Amon's there for Hawthorn. 50 out from the Lions goal. They pile in. Umpire says mine. And a ball up inside forward 50 for Brisbane.
Lights are on, but still plenty of natural light around the G. Ball tossed in the air, attacking 50 for Brisbane. Rayner roves, hands it to Neal. Rush kick to the goal mouth. Jath had first bite, fumble, stolen by Archie. Hands it to Berry, who kicks it out on the full with his left boot, hitting the point post on the full from the left forward pocket. So Battle's going to take the free kick, if you can find a footy. Yep, Battle's going to take the free kick in the right back pocket for the Hawks. That score across town, by the way, GWS 17 goals, 8, 110 to Carlton's 12, 10, 82. If you missed that earlier today, short inbound. Amon takes the mark. Still deep in defence for the Hawks. Kicks it to left half back. Bouncing ball to Moore. Is he taken high? No, he's tackled and holding the ball.
Wow.
Fletcher got him. Did it get high, Chad?
No, well, Hawks are very good, they're small forwards. They're drawing those high tackles, and I actually really like, I know it's not going to sound good from a Hawthorn player, but yeah, I like that they let that go in this holding books. It's going to, I suppose, encourage the players not to duck and to take on it. If you do take on the tackler, you've got to dispose of it correctly. So he ducked, didn't dispose of it correctly, and I think it's the right call.
Tough angle at right half forward. Man on the mark, 45 out. Jasper Fletcher puts his right boot to it. Handy looking kick across the face. First score of the game. It's a minor score. Brisbane with the behind. Hawks yet to score through 4 minutes. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Fast start here at the G. Sicily wastes no time bringing it back into Weddle. Great to have Chad Wingard and Kieran Peterson, our experts, all Australians on ABC Sport, climbing over the top of the pack. Hardwick's in front of it all. Answorth's coming over the top, and after the wrestle, it's going to go with Hardwick, who was the man in front.
almost a jump ball on NBA terms. Both had hands on at the same time.
Where does the possession arrow go? Goes with Hawthorn and Hardwick. He bangs it up toward half forward, and Harris Andrews gets his left fist to it to clatter it out of play at the junction of the 50 and the boundary. It's been a pretty quick start, Kez.
Yeah, it has. That matchup is going to be one to watch. Chol versus Andrews. Andrews was well held last week. He started all right this afternoon. Chol will get moving up the ground.
Throw in left half forward for Hawthorn. Roved out the back by Ward, given to D'Ambrosio. High kick towards full forward. Telling fist in the pack came from Leicester. Back to attacking 50 for the Hawks. Amon does the roving. Kicks for the pocket over Ginnivan's head. Roved by Andrews of Brisbane. Hand pass to Fletcher and kicks the lines clear towards the Warren stand side on the head of Dunkley. Barris with the spoil. Punches it out of play. Still in the Hawks attacking half.
They were set up well there behind the ball. Hawthorn, they had nowhere to go. Brisbane, Harris Andrews was able to collect it, but just had absolutely nothing to look up to other than the Hawthorn wall.
Battle of the interceptors across half-back. Barris, Hawthorn have got a litany of them. Yeah. And, of course, you've got Payne and Andrews at the other end for Brisbane. Tossed back in just inside the Hawks attacking half. This is where Brisbane might have the upper hand in terms of the numbers around stoppages. It's not been a strength of Hawthorn's this season. Neal, handball back feed to Zorko, kicks up the line, brought down by Morris on the Shane Ward stand wing, but taken away by Amon. Flares the kick across the centre square for Jaff. Now the kick inside the 50, into the path of Gunston. Well done from Payne. Got there first, controlled the ball, handball to Berry, arches the back, then lost the run of it. Taken away by Morrison for Hawthorn. In front of the members. Centering kicks a good one. Finds Warple. 55 from home. Kicks inside the 50s. Kicked it straight to Fort.
And they're out on the far wing. Quick kick to Dunkley. He'll mark in space, edge of the centre square. No one in front of him, so he just has to hold up. Now the run comes from half back. Bailey receives the hand pass. Kicks it back to Dunkley, not 15. Dunkley hands it back to Ainsworth, who kicks towards half forward. McCluggage takes the grab. The man leading the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year, Hugh McCluggage. He's got the ball between wing and right half forward on the southern side of the ground. Off a couple of steps, a high entry inside 50. Morris to the front, juggles the mark. It was a 2-on-2 and Logan Morris found himself at the drop and juggles the mark. Will have a shot from 40.
Well, he was almost pushed into it, wasn't he, Chad? He found his way to the front of the pack and in a way it sort of landed in his chest with the momentum taking him forward. I think it was... No, it wasn't Sicily, it was his direct opponent, I think. Yeah, directly just push him into it. Good grab, and he should go back and slot this.
He's very quickly established himself as an important part of this team. It was about this time last year when he made his debut. Logan Morris. Man on the mark, 40 out, 45 degrees to the right. Morris on his right boot. Kicks the first goal of the game. The Lions strike first at the G. Brisbane 1-1-7, Hawthorn yet to score, 7.5 minutes played. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Karen Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts.
And that's just the maturity of Brisbane line. For those who are listening, they had all the momentum and you're thinking, why don't they just keep going fast? They had to hold it up. They had no one to kick to. And it shows maturity of the Brisbane line. I mean, a younger team might have just kicked that forward, kicked it to space. And then if they don't win that, they open themselves up for Hawthorn, who love to get to the open side and then run right around you. So that's just very smart, very wise. It is a defensive-minded approach, I suppose, but it pays off there because they get numbers all in their forward 50, they get a contest and they get a mark there. But if they don't, they've got numbers at ground level to actually defend that and hold them inside their forward 50. So very mature from Brisbane.
Logan Morris, 17th goal of the season, 3 last week. Back in the middle we go. Meek and Fort battle again. It's taken by Will Ashcroft. Of course, start here on grand final day. Got the free kick for too high. Outlets to Neal, who dashes away. Kicks inside the 50 to Lohman, who marks 49 from home. The man from Maryborough has got it. He's going to look into the pocket. Target of the kick will be Dunkley. Got a hand to it, wrestling against Battle. He wanted a free kick. Umpire not agreeing with him, and it'll be tossed back in. Right forward pocket. Lions into attack to the punt road end. They've got the only goal of the game. They lead by 7 through 9 minutes on ABC Sport.
Joel Peterson and Quentin Hull with you as the ball's tossed in with Brisbane in attack. Meek first hand. Ward wrapped up immediately by Morris. We'll see a ball up in the forward pocket. Poppy Penny's on the boundary.
Yeah, just quickly, Jack Ginnivan's pulled the pin on the long sleeve jumper. He's already changed into the short sleeves.
Thanks, Poppy. Ball up right forward pocket for Brisbane. Meek first hand again. Has he got a rover? Not really. Warple's there to lock up Will Ashcroft, so another stoppage. Left back pocket for the Hawks.
Meek this time in ruck against Dunkley. Knocks it down. Taken away by McCluggage, who's able to jam it on the boot. And only a minor score. 1-2 the Lions. Hawks yet to score through 10 minutes in the opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. 2 games tonight, North Melbourne and Collingwood. And while they're up playing Yardabulti, Battle drives it in for Hawthorn. Straight back into Lions' hands. Fort takes the mark. Right half forward. He's going to come back defensively to Andrews, who's just in front of halfway. He can set up another Brisbane attack.
Had his colours lowered by Jake Milksham last week. Doesn't happen very often to the 2-time All-Australian. The co-captain for the Lions kicks to half forward. Gardner's got a couple to beat. Can't mark. Roved by Warple of the Hawks. His hand pass turned over. Good tackle from Lohman. Forces it clear. Neal picks up the crumbs. Beautiful kick from hard on the boundary to the front of goal. Morris there, 30 out, straight in front to take the mark.
And that was super impressive. I mean, you just wonder how no one tackled him. He was just going one way then the other. Looked like Scotty Pendlebury out there. I call him the sun when everyone else rotates around him, and he's just stuck in the middle. And that was a beautiful kick. Had about 10 centimetres, probably a gap that someone could mark that. And like I said, straight in front, 30 out. Pretty stock standard approach here. Should hit this pretty sweetly.
Already has kicked the one. Logan Morris straight in front, punt road end. Man on the marks, 30 metres out if that. And Morris pumps his fist as soon as he strikes the footy. 2 for Logan Morris, 2 for the Lions, who have got the jump in twilight footy here at the G. Brisbane 2-2-14. Hawthorn yet to score. 11 minutes played. Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Guys, just off field, behind the goals at the City, and they've cleared out an entire bay of the crowd, and there appears to be an incident. They've got a screen up, and there's a heap of sort of security and what looks like medical personnel around, but they've cleared an entire bay out behind the goals at the City end.
Yeah, well picked up, Poppy. You're right, there's about a dozen personnel around there, obviously taking care of that scenario, but well picked up. Morris with 2, Lions with 2.
It's been a good return for Logan Morris, hasn't it? For a guy in his second year, 18 goals through the first 9 and a couple of minutes of the season. Sorry, 9 games and a couple of minutes of the season. He's a great return.
Second best player to come out of the Werribee Districts Football Club. Shout out to our very own Rod Jamieson. The inaction across your ABC. Of course, 25 years with the ABC this year for Jamo. From the restart, the Hawks win it forward. Warple kicks inside forward 50. Gunston in the pocket. Taken well by Answorth, and he's walked across the line in the presence of Watson. It'll be tossed back in that left forward pocket at the City end, not far from that area where Poppy was pointing out. Bay has been cleared. We get a boundary throw in. Hawks yet to score. Lions 2-2, 12.5 gone opening term. Joel Peterson, Quentin Hull, Chad Wingard, Karen Peterson and Poppy Penny with you. Meek wins it down. Watson's there, through the arms back, wanted the free kick. He's shoved out of play by Answorth. That'll be a fun duel between those two combatants this afternoon.
Early filling out period at the Lions. So many years this was not a place that they liked playing footy, or at least winning footy. But they've won 3 in a row here. Haven't beaten the Hawks for a while though. 5 in a row for Hawthorn. There's a whistle at the stoppage. That's a raffle. Who gets it? It's the Hawks. Free kick Hawthorn, and is it D'Ambrosio who's going to get the free kick?
McDonald. Yeah.
It's McDonald who's got it. Okay. It was one of those around the ruck contest. You didn't know whether it was the big man or the small man, but Connor McDonald, chance to get Hawthorn's first score. Slight angle left, 45 out, right foot kick. Looks pretty good. Hawks get one back. 6th goal of the year for Connor McDonald. Brisbane's lead back to 8 points. Lions 2-2. Hawks 1 straight. And they've travelled 13 and a half minutes.
Yeah, and you said before with the small forwards, forward 50 stoppages are some of the most dangerous times to be a small forward. And you think about Hawthorn when you've got McDonald, Ginnivan, and you've got obviously Watson with the Wizard. You want to make sure as a Brisbane that you don't give away a free kick, so you put them at such stress levels as a half-back, because you get so much movement around this stoppage that you give away because you don't want him to get goal side. And Connor McDonald just reaps the benefit of that, but it actually started with Watson. That there's, I suppose, this forward 50 stoppage beforehand, almost getting out the front and getting a lick of it. So that potency in the small forwards for Hawthorn is going to be a real problem if they get a lot of inside 50s like that.
Great to have the insight of a man who knows a bit about being a live wire forward in Chad Wingard on ABC Sport. From the restart, Lions almost with the takeaway. And the ball up. It's Chol, who was in there as a secondary ruck, almost got into the back of Cluggage, but umpire said nothing to worry about there. Hipwood in the middle. Newcomb, he fights for it. Rayner bobbled it out. Did he throw it out? No, it's going to come back the other way. In fact, it is the advantage to the Hawks. Now Moore's got it in front of the interchange. Comes back to battle. Bump ball. Takes it nicely. Shrugs the tackle from Lohman. Kick is infield and aggressive and broken up by Leicester. Lions come away with it. Chain of hand passes toward Will Ashcroft and then a crunching tackle from Leicester, who goes back in and fights for the footy. Let's go downstairs to Poppy.
Yeah, the MCC have confirmed that's a medical episode that they're dealing with behind that goals, and that's why they've cleared out that bay.
Thanks, Poppy. Hopefully everything is looked after there. Cameron shunted the ball to McCluggage at the stoppage. Was it a throw? Yes, it was. Free kick going to Newcomb of the Hawks. Quickly hand passes to Weddle. True centre wing member's side. Lions lead it by 8. Weddle doesn't like what's in front of him. Runs backwards. Hand passes all the way almost to D50 to Morrison. Gives the problem back to Weddle. Kicks it almost to full back to Barris. Interesting. Barris takes the mark. Completes the transfer to the outer side. Scrimshaw takes the grab. Just forward of left, half back for the Hawks. Kicks around the boundary. D'Ambrosio marks. Plays on with a hand pass to Amon. Nice footy. Has about 60 from goal. Left boot from 55 to the goal mouth. Watson flew against a couple. It hit his head and ricocheted to the deck. Fletcher picks it up for the Lions. Desperate clearing kick, though, has gone straight to Weddle. Marks at 40 out directly in front.
Chad, you spoke about the way the maturity of Brisbane's ball movement when they were held up and didn't like the options forward. I think Hawthorn are doing that equally as well, and they've done that well the last couple of weeks too, but as Nick Watson's...
he's been pushed over by Noah Answorth on the way to the bench. Did that hit the back of his head?
It was a little backwards falcon, wasn't it?
I'm not... Anyway, that we saw a little byplay on the way to the bench. Meanwhile, Weddle, straight in front, 50 out. Hawks have got 2 answers to the opening 2 from the Lions. Brisbane 2-2, Hawthorn 2 straight. 16.5 first term. It's Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Quentin Hull, Joel Peterson, Karen Peterson and Chad Wingard with you.
Sorry, I got distracted by Nick Watson starting to push and shove as he was running to the bench, but I was talking about the way that Hawthorn, there's no issues with them being able to go backwards to, I think it was Battle or Barras who was back in the D50, trying to tack through the open side of the ground, and that's when they can really generate their run and carry off the back line that they've been doing so well. And some of their inside 50 work at the moment, they're just putting the Brisbane defenders just really under the pump and scrambling them a little bit, and sort of speaks a little bit to the small forwards that they're working with, but also finding targets in the middle of the ground as easy as what they are.
Poppy?
Yeah, Nick Watson had a couple of words to say to the Brisbane bench on his way off as well, and a bit of a stare after that little back and forth.
Never short of a jibe is the Wizard, that's for sure. At the restart, Chol does the ruck work, takes it away, puts it on the left boot, just outstretched, past the outstretched arms of Hardwick, picked up by Gunston. Nice little give around the corner. Ginnivan sold some candy and run into a wall. Caught by Leicester holding the ball. And the ever-reliable Ryan Leicester wins it back for Brisbane inside the D50. Outlet kicks a good one as well. Floats into the path of Hipwood.
Just forward of right half back. Hipwood kicks to Archie. Marks uncontested. Slightly defensive side of the southern wing. 18 minutes first term. Brisbane by 2 points. Archie takes a moment or two before driving a right foot drop punt towards attacking 50. Battle out the bat is won the spillage there. Morris almost got a piece of that mark over to Amon. Amon's clearing kick goes out of bounds on the full. So free kick here for the Lions, and Levi Ashcroft's closest. Where's his dad's number? In his first year. Kicks the Lions towards full forward. Great work from Barris. Leapt in front of the pack. Fine defenders grab just forward of full back.
Of course, had the head clash last week, Tom Barris, and still sporting the scars from that with the headband. Either that or just doing his best Camden McIntosh impersonation. Now McKenzie dashes off halfback. He got caught by Ashcroft. It's a great tackle. Levi is able to stick it. Hawthorn wanted to come away with that footy. It's going to have to come back to the first-year line. Levi will take it from the centre of the southern wing. 2-2 Brisbane, 2 straight Hawthorn. 19 minutes gone in this opening term. Ashcroft gallops away. Drops it out toward the boundary line. Dunkley in front. Paid the mark on the second attempt. 60 metres from home. Tied up against the paint. What's he got inside the arc? Cameron's deep. Morris is making a presentation. Goes to the top of the square. Jaff comes over the top. Belts it away. Ashcroft is on the end of it. That was Levi to Will. Tied up against the boundary line. Neil can't sneak clear. Scrimshaw pushes him across. And a ball in right forward pocket. Lions into attack.
20 minutes first term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Pretty good house in, as you'd expect for two teams expected to be at the pointy end of the argument in 2025. Weddle probably got first hand at ruck time, and free kick to Hawthorn underneath. Newcombe taken high, Dunkley to stand the mark. Free kick for the Hawks in the left back pocket. And he's taking quite the time of working out his next step, Ty Newcombe. He ends up just having a bounce. Runs through full-back. Kick is semi-smothered. Falls to Charlie Cameron, 40 metres from goal. Cameron runs in field. Snap doesn't have the penetration. Top of the goal mouth. Battles there to win the ball away from Dunkley for the Hawks. Hand passes to Jaff in the right back pocket. Kicks the Hawks clear towards the wing. Barris makes the spoil. Weddle trying to rove. He's tackled by Berry and locked up. And we'll see a ball up right half back for the Hawks, left half forward for the Lions. It's Brisbane 2-2-14, Hawthorn 2 straight 12.
Felt like when Charlie got onto that ball, it was put down the glasses. Just doesn't have the finishing touches at the moment. Will Ashcroft at the stoppage. Got it from Neil in tight confines. Ward had a play at it, then he ran straight into the head of Wilmot. It rolls into the centre square and it's dragged underneath for a ball up. 2-2-14 to 2 straight 12. Lions up by 2. 21 gone opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us wherever you're listening. Neil's dragged down again. He's been prolific early. Has the Brownlow medalist 6 touches. Dunkley's got 6. Battle's got 6. And Carl Amon's got 6 off half-back for the Hawks.
Weddle tapped down over the top of Hipwood, but Bailey does the roving. Hand passes out the back to Fletcher. Hands it to the wing. Zorko's there for Brisbane. Kicks around the boundary line. Gardner takes the mark just before the paint. The defender turned forward who kicked 4 goals last week. Darcy Gardner. 2 kicks from goal. Kicks to the pocket. Big pack. Roving at the front is Berry for Brisbane. Evades a tackle of D'Ambrosio. Kicks to full forward. 2 against Cameron. It's Jaff and also McKenzie. Neither takes clean possession. And neither does Charlie. It's beyond them and over the boundary line for a throw-in next to the point post.
It's Brisbane pressure building. Lockett inside their forward 50 once more. Meek and Dunkley have to scurry forward in ruck. Nash takes it for the Hawks. Handball off to Amon. That loping left boot outside the defensive 50. Forts there. Chol reaches over the top. Makes a contest. Bills to McDonald for Hawthorn. Now to Hardwick just shy of the wing. He's forced to backtrap. Whips a high kick around his body. Falls beautifully. He dropped it into the bucket for Dylan Moore, who's off toward the boundary line, hemmed in by Answorth. Now he kicks a high footy inside the 50. Ginnivan underneath it. Reaching up was Harris Andrews. Brought it down. And now he comes away with Andrews. Did well to Neil. Flares the kick across the defensive 50. It's a beautiful outlet. And Kalachi marks it left half back. Still inside the back 50. Comes defensively to Zorko and now on to Will Ashcroft, who's got it 40 out from his defensive goal. Lions by 2, 23 gone opening term.
Kick to right half back. Fletcher takes the mark. Almost stubbed the kick. Not a great kick. Levi Ashcroft picks up. Hand passes back to Fletcher. Runs the half back flank. Hand passes to the wing for Answorth. Nice build up from Brisbane. Kick to Lohman. Can't mark, but gets a free kick. Jath over the shoulder with the attempted spoil on Kai Lohman, who has not kicked a goal since his 4 goals here on grand final day. Hasn't been the start to 2025 that he would have hoped. Kicks to right half forward. Answorth takes the grab. 60 from goal near the boundary. Kick into the man on the mark. Newcombe actually not only smothered it, he was able to gather it, then runs out of room. Out of play. Karen Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts. 24 minutes first term. Brisbane by 2 points.
It's been an interesting contest. There's been some great one-on-one battles and then really slow ball movement as well, and kicking into man on the mark just because of the way both teams are set up behind the ball really, really well at the moment.
Meek takes front spot against Fort. Will Ashcroft with the clearing kick up toward the 50. Cameron takes possession just inside the boundary line. Got around Sicily. Gets back onto his left peg. Sends a high footy to full forward. Archie! Reaches up and pulls it down. Weddle was floating across. Archie judged it best. He's got a 20-metre shot from directly in front.
And that was a great run by, obviously just timed his jump better than Weddle, and that's the trouble with Hawthorn. Sometimes they've got a lot of guys who can run and mark the ball, but sometimes you've got to put your fist through it, especially when it's 10 metres at the front. Do you fly to mark or do you fly to spoil? This time it hurts Hawthorn, and Archie, can he slot it through from 15 metres out?
He should be able to. He pulls it left. That's a poor result with the set shot. 2-3 Brisbane, 2 straight Hawthorn, 25 gone. Opening term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Amon runs beyond the goal square, runs to the pocket, long inbound towards a pack at left half back. Andrews got to the front for Brisbane, and I think he gets a free kick for a chop. Yep. Just as the Hawks are about to bound clear, Hardwick the offender. So Andrews kicks infield. Zorko marks centre half forward, 65 out, 2 steps, deep kick to the pocket, no one there for Brisbane. And tracking back, Battle takes the mark on his chest for the Hawks in the right back pocket. Plays on, kicks beyond defensive 50, aim on the target, nice spoil by Berry to knock it out of play. Throw in, 70 from Brisbane's goal at left half forward. The Lions 2-3, the Hawks 2 straight.
It was a really ordinary kick by Zorko. Wasn't really going for goal, wasn't really going for a teammate, wasn't a miss kick either, so probably just needed to lower the eyes and hit up a teammate on that one.
Meek in ruck, surrounded by his former under-18 teammates in Jared Berry and Hugh McCluggage. It's McCluggage who comes away with it at the stoppage. Low kick inside the 50. Loman left it behind. Beautiful pick-up, Scrimshaw. Exchanges hand passes with Sicily. Now kicks to McDonald. Measured it really well to the top of the defensive 50. To the galloping Weddle. And now to Jath through the centre of the MCG. CJ lights it up. Kicks inside the 50 for Watson. And that is this Hawthorn machine at its scintillating best. Watson's got a set shot, 45 metres out, slight angle left of centre.
That was a beautiful run by Weddle. I mean, he started that chase. I mean, as the handball received, that opened up CJ. And once you go through the corridor, if Brisbane are going to compensate on the wings, that's when Hawthorn runs their guts out and then they get through the corridor because it opens up.
3 last week for Watson to put the Hawks in front. It's away to the right, and it's slapped through by Fort on the behind line. 2-3, place 2-1. Lions up, 27 gone. First term, your experts, Kez Peterson and Chad Wingard.
And that late change for the Hawks, Impey. Zorko's turned over the kick in. He was looking for a short option in Wilmot, but Hardwick intercepts and marks 25 metres out directly in front. And he's now looking at the big screen, the Zork, thinking, how did I do that? This is a gift for Blake Hardwick to put the Hawks in front. I'm just about to go through those. You think you're safe doing the changes when Zorko's kicking in, but no. Impey out, McGuinness playing as the sub. No late changes for the Lions. Dev Robertson is the sub, but now Blake Hardwick off that error from the other number 15. Should put Hawthorn in front here. 35 out, no angle, kicks the goal, and the Hawks lead it at the G. 3 in a row for Hawthorn. Making the most of that poor kick-in from Dane Zorko. Hawthorn 3-1-19. Brisbane 2-3-15.
Yeah, a couple of moments that Zorko would like back, I think. Might have been thinking about the previous mistake, and once one happens, it's pretty easy to make a second one, but he's experienced enough that he'll be able to hopefully move past that pretty quickly. I've got no doubt that his teammates in the back line will get around him, but an absolute gift for Hawthorn, almost on the stroke of quarter time. Pretty entertaining contest thus far, Chad.
Yeah, and Zorko wasn't a bad kick. He hit it pretty low, pretty hard, on target, but the reaction time by Blake Hardwick was sensational. It just brought me back to the days when he was a half-backer, just picking off all those little ones. I don't miss matching up on him in the training grounds, but it's a great finish. He's been amazing for them as a, I suppose, defensive forward for him.
He would have been up for a scrap. Kicked 3 last week, Hardwick, and on the goal-scoring list. And this one today. From the middle, the Ashcrofts combine. Will to Levi, now to McCluggage. Right foot kick from half forward. Inside the 50, Archie goes up, almost brought it down again. Scrimshaw, handball to Barris, around the body. McCluggage let it go and McKenzie swooped in, took the footy away for the Hawks. Kick to a handball to Warple, who kicks right up the middle to Gunston. Gunston now flares it out wide for McDonald. Marks while he backpedals, kicks inside the 50. It's a good one. He finds Hardwick right on the arc, out at left half forward. Rolls on, right foot kick, lets it go. Charlie Cameron getting back there to provide defensive support, slaps it out of play, and it'll be a throw-in. Deep in the right forward pocket, Hawks into attack. They lead by 4, half an hour played in the opening term.
Reckon only Hawthorn could score from here. There's about 20 seconds left before quarter time. Throw in next to the point post at the Hawks attacking end. Oh, shallow throw in. Meek couldn't take it cleanly though. It's at his feet. He has to play tackler now, and Answorth does so to lock it up. And that ate up 9 seconds. So 11 seconds left in this first term. Still a bit of natural light around at the G. Meek has another go. No rover for him. And Moore now plays tackler. So we've gone from 19 seconds to 11 seconds. Now we've got 6 seconds left. Stoppage. Ball tossed in the air. And McCluggage does enough to fumble his way through the next 6 seconds of the term and prevent any further score. Brisbane with the first 2 goals, Hawthorn with the next 3. And it's the Hawks leading by 4 points at quarter time. Hawthorn 3 goals won, 19 over Brisbane's 2-3-15. The goal kickers for Hawthorn, Connor McDonald, Josh Weddle and Blake Hardwick, while for Brisbane, Logan Morris has both goals. Hawks 3-1-19, Lions 2-3-15. Earlier today at Docklands, Giants by 28 over the Blues. Greater Western Sydney 17 goals, 8-110. Beat Carlton's 12-10-82. And doubling up across town, North and Collingwood to come later on this evening. Meanwhile, in the West, it's Walyalup versus Jaltabolti, the Dockers and the Power to do battle out west. Both calls available on the ABC Listen app, either the AFL or the AFL Extra button. And I know you love your horse racing too, Joel. The first, or the second of the Group 1s in the Brisbane Winter Carnival. Jenny led them up, but Antino, the local for trainer Tony Gollan, Antino, the winner of the Doomben Cup.
You threatened to abandon me if it went a certain way. Yes. I'm assuming we're...
No, Kovalika did not win today, even though James McDonald was on today.
I wasn't quite prepared to go solo, Q.
I got sick of throwing good money after bad there, but no, Antino, the winner of the Doomben Cup. Kes Peterson and Chad Wingard with their thoughts in just a moment. Quarter time at the G. Hawthorn by 4 points at Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, the World Test Championship, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
McCluggage, he's got the ball between wing and right half forward off a couple of steps. A high entry inside 50. Morris to the front, juggles the mark. Logan Morris. Man on the mark, 40 out, 45 degrees to the right. Morris on his right boot. Kicks the first goal of the game. The Lions strike first at the G. Already has kicked the one. Logan Morris straight in front, punt road end. Man on the marks, 30 metres out if that, and Morris pumps his fist as soon as he strikes the footy. Connor McDonald, slight angle left, 45 out, right foot kick, looks pretty good. Hawks get one back. 6th goal of the year for Connor McDonald. Brisbane's lead back to 8 points. Weddle, straight in front, 50 out. Hawks have got 2 answers to the opening 2 from the Lions. Now Blake Hardwick should put Hawthorn in front here. 35 out, no angle, kicks the goal, and the Hawks lead it at the G. 3 in a row for Hawthorn.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Hawthorn by 4 points at quarter time as we continue the second week of the Sir Doug Nicholls rounds. Quentin Hull and Joel Peterson calling the action with Karen Peterson, Chad Wingard and Poppy Penny. Your SMSs continue to be welcome on 0437 774 774. G'day to Moose from Bendigo. He texts, I'm loving the call while I do the weekly supermarket run as a high sock enthusiast who has the socks up today. Well, that's a very broad question.
I reckon that, Tom Barris is a bit of a mid-sock operator. I'm not sure there's too many high socks. Even the rucks haven't sort of opted for that this afternoon, Moose.
Richard from Geelong, he's just tuned in. May have already been raised, but as far as watching on the TV and listening to our call, he reckons that the jumpers clash on the telly. So it doesn't look too bad here, but obviously a bit of the more Fitzroy strip for the Lions today, and the Hawks in their brown and gold. To football matters. Chad, Kez, you make it the first half hour.
I'm still getting over the long question, the long sock question from Moose in Bendigo. I'll keep an eye out for you, Moose. Really entertaining first half. I feel like both teams, probably for the first 10-15 minutes of that quarter, were just feeling each other out. It was pretty contested. Neither team were able to break the game open, and then it was for Hawthorn probably in the last 4 or 5 minutes that really generated a couple of turnovers on their back half and were able to break open and get themselves forward. I think that might continue as play goes on, and I'd like to see Brisbane be able to do the same thing and just tidy up their inside 50 kicks. Their 2 goals came from lowering their eyes and hitting Logan Morris. The rest of their inside 50s, Chad, were sort of more high balls, which is really going to play into the hands of the Hawthorn defenders. We spoke about it on air and off air before the game. They've got an absolute treasure chest of intercepting defenders, and it's no surprise that Amon, Battle and Jath are the ones who are leading the possession count for the Hawks. And Brisbane won't be disappointed with the way they've played in the first quarter. I think they'll start to find their groove. It's always Will Ashcroft at the top of the list, and he's got 10 possessions to start. I wonder whether Brisbane would like to get their clearance game going. We know that they're probably the best clearance team in the competition at the moment, and at the moment it's even pegging. Sorry, Brisbane up 10-9.
Yeah, and I want to touch on Brisbane. Their last disposal inside forward 50. I saw Charlie Cameron miss a snap shot from 30 metres out that didn't make the distance. You got Callum Archie, who 15 metres out hit the post. You just see some players that should hit those goals, and obviously Zorko from 55 had no pressure and didn't score again. They've kicked 2 goals, 3, but there's 3 instances that they didn't really even have a look at the goal where they should have kicked the goal. So
yeah, Berry had one too.
Yeah, and Berry as well. And you think about Brisbane, I feel like they're on top of the game. Even though Hawthorn kicked the last 3 goals, Brisbane had the game on their terms. They pinned him in the forward 50. They had re-entries. They didn't go down the line and give Hawthorn a big lick at it in terms of intercept marks, but it's that last kick finishing off, because they could have put him to the sword, could have kicked, could be up 3 goals if they actually kick straight.
Individual stats: Amon with 8 for the Hawks, Battle with 7 for the Lions, Ashcroft 10, that's Will, Neil with 8. Inside 50s in the first term, Brisbane +3 at 13-10.
It's been a good battle. It's pretty even all the way around the ground. Meek gets us started in this second term, pumps the Hawks inside forward 50, and Jack Payne is part of that 2-headed monster down back for Brisbane. He's become such a good player. Now to Zorko, whose last 2 kicks haven't been all that flash. That one's a little bit better and a little bit more risk-averse, to Bailey. Now up the middle to Archie. Hands off to Bailey, who's scooting past. Sends Brisbane into the attacking half. Dropping off was Scrimshaw. Dropped the mark as well at half-back. Spilt to Morris for the Lions. He had it, lost it. Crashing through goes Scrimshaw. Great tackle on Berry, but he was a little bit overzealous. In fact, it's Bailey who'll have it from 60 metres out for Brisbane.
Probably just beyond his best kick, Zach Bailey. So he decides to set it up towards the pocket. Fought the target. A couple against him. Off hands and out of play. Throw it in. Left forward pocket for the Lions. Kicking to the city end in this second quarter. Still a hint of natural light around. It has been the most gorgeous of late autumn days in Melbourne. A twilight to roll into the evening here before we go back to Docklands for the Melbourne fixture, and out west for the 2 games tonight. From the throw-in, McCluggage back at the stoppage, half a chance, extricates a handball to Hipwood, hands it on to Bailey, high contact. Free kick, McDonald too high on Bailey. Now this is within range. Man on the mark is only 40 metres out.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one because he didn't raise his arm. You think about the Luke Shuey, which he did to me when I was at Port Adelaide. I was filthy with that elimination final. But he didn't raise his arm. Yes, he went lower, but he attacked the ball. So it has to be a good tackle. So I'm actually I'm okay with that.
You're not holding a grudge, though, are you?
No, not at all. I just thought I'd bring something that happened about 8 years up. Sorry, calls.
Already 17 goals this year. Zach Bailey from right on 50. Make it 18. Good finish from Zach Bailey, who is really returning to that role that we saw him up to 2023 as an impact on the scoreboard kind of player. Only kicked 22 goals in the entirety of last year, but up to 18 now for the year. That gives the Lions the lead again. at 3-3-21 to 3-1-19, 2 minutes second term.
Yeah, it was a good finish. I enjoyed the chuckle between Bailey and must have been Connor McDonald there. I reckon Connor McDonald would be the sort that would like to be able to duck the shoulder and have a crack at trying to find a free kick with that one as well. But I agree, Chad, if you got to go in and tackle a player like that, you've got to go lower and you've got to go harder, and on that occasion Connor McDonald wasn't able to execute a good tackle, so good call and a great finish.
Breaks around 3 consecutive Hawthorn goals and gives us our second lead change of the game. Neil falls over in the centre circle. In fact, he was assisted in doing so. So right on halfway, hands off to Zorko, who comes absolutely screaming past, drives the kick inside forward 50. Archie gets upstairs. Scrimshaw looking like Josh Weddle, just arching the back and coming away with it, and a terrific mark from McDonald, who had Andrews closing at pace. And the far smaller of the number 31 stands in front and accepts it into his chest in front of the members. The Brisbane co-captain is admonished by the Hawthorn faithful. Then McDonald's kick, maybe he's a little bit rattled still. He missed Nash. Turnover. Brisbane back with the footy. McCluggage, intelligent slap on from Morris. Now to Dunkley, to Cameron. Got a little bit of space to work in. Got it to Bailey. 30 metres out. Left foot snap. He does not hit it how he would have liked at all. Out of bounds on the full. It'll be brought back in by Battle for Hawthorn.
Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Amon takes the short kick in.
Sorry, I just saw the replay on Harris Andrews to Connor McDonald. That's an elbow straight to the back of the head. So I'm not sure if he'd be in trouble for that one, but that would have certainly have hurt.
Long kick from Amon to the southern wing. Off hands. Roved by Moore. Gives it to Hardwick by hand. He on to McKenzie. Hands it back to Hardwick. Little hemmed in on the boundary. So one step Hopper towards half forward. And here's the enemy. Andrews getting in front of Joel to take the mark for Brisbane. He does not look perturbed, Harris Andrews, at all. He'd be a good man to have around in an emergency, I reckon, Harris Andrews. He just seems so calm. The Lions are now doing their chip thing in the back 50. Zorko, the most recent recipient, still forward to fullback. Here's the kick upfield. Good kick. Leicester marks it forward of left half back. Hands it to Neil. Short pass to Bailey. Marks just defensive side of the wing for Brisbane. Kicks to half forward. Sat on Will Ashcroft's head. Spoiled away by Scrimshaw. Play on. Picked up by the Hawks. Meek gives the hand pass to McKenzie. Hardwick's hand pass is turned over. Leicester's got it. He's tackled by McKenzie. And holding the ball. Free kick to Hawthorn. Just defensive side of the southern wing.
So Cam McKenzie immediately turns it over. Straight to Wilmot, to Cameron at left half forward. Some space to work in. Drives his kick to full forward. Archie's got the sit. Battle came back front on. Free kick.
Yep.
And it's going to Cal Archie. And he's going to have another 20-metre shot from directly in front.
And that was smart by Callum Archie. He knew Battle took his eyes off the ball. So they come from two different directions. And Callum Archie just ran at the ball, had his eyes on it. And Battle had he tried to find the body, but he just had enough time to actually do it. So very smart. He knew he was never going to mark that. But he just knew that's how he could draw a free kick. And that was a bit of ping-pong footy there. But Brisbane came up on top and get a mark inside forward 50 with Callum Archie. Better kick a goal, hopefully, from 20 metres out. Almost same spot, different end.
Yep, had a shot in the first quarter and missed from a similar distance. This time for Archie, no worries. Back-to-back goals for Brisbane. And the Lions lead by 8 points early in this second term. 4-3-27. Hawthorn 3-1-19. 1 goal one last week for Cal Archie. 1 goal one already this week on ABC Sport. Your experts are Chad Wingard and Kes Peterson.
Well, the physicality and the intensity of the game has absolutely gone up a couple of notches since quarter time. Probably more reflective of the first 6 minutes of this quarter of what I was expecting coming into the game. A lot more physicality. You can see both teams here just getting a little bit nervous through the middle of the ground. Couple of turnovers, and on the back of that being punished on that occasion with Brisbane going forward, and couldn't agree more with Chad. Terrific forward craft. Callum Archie, just the way that he attacked the footy, just left his defender with no choice but to make contact and give away a free kick.
Centre bounce. Meek over the top of Fort. Taps down to Warple. Dropped it. Picked up by Will Ashcroft. Hand pass stolen by Ward. Hawks have got it. Gives to Warple. Rush clearance towards half forward. Off the hands of the pack. Bounce evades Ginnivan. Picked up by Will Ashcroft. Ginnivan tackles him. Hand pass comes free. Umps his play on. Leicester wins the spillage, bangs a clearing ball towards the wing. Weddle first back to meet it for Hawthorn. Hand passes to Morrison. Morrison infield on the hand pass to Scrimshaw. Tackled by Lohman. Just got a hand pass away to Giath, who hands it defensively. Barris is at right half back. And now chips short. Morrison's got it, but the Hawks way back at right half back.
Harry Morrison, the cousin of a former Lion in Tom Rockcliffe. Played some very good footy for Brisbane over the years. Now Giath off half back toward D'Ambrosio. Maybe the aerial stuff not his strong suit. Taken away by Berry. Archie and Neal combine. And then Neal drops a kick in front of Berry, who marks just inside the boundary line in front of the members at right half forward. 2 kicks from home for Brisbane, who lead by 8 points. Berry goes deep. Morris the target. Barris reaches across and thumps it out of play. And it'll be tossed back in. Right forward pocket. Brisbane into attack, and they've done most of the attacking in this second term so far. We're 8 minutes in. The Lions with the only 2 goals of the second. They lead by 8.
Get to your text when we get a chance. Thank you. 0437 774 774 is the number. Keep them coming in. 0437 774 774. Boundary throw in. Meek has to rove his own crumb. Did well to give it to Newcombe. Clearing kick will hit bodies, but ricocheted to Warple. Now he bounces it clear of defence towards the wing. Numbers with the Lions. Payne out the back. Tackled by Chol. Lost it. Play on. Gunston's over it. He lost it. So too did Hardwick. Hard footy to win. Andrews the clean hand for Brisbane. Hands it to Zorko. Short pass to Berry. Marks. 2 kicks from goal. No one on him at right half forward. Runs on. Poor entry inside 50. Kicks it straight to Weddle, who takes the mark forward to full back, and he'll play on quickly. Weddle's kick. It's an ambitious one which finds Connor McDonald. Edge of the centre square on halfway. Hand passes to Ward. Ward's kick inside 50 is a bullet. Almost pierces the sternum of Watson on the lead. What a kick. And Watson takes the mark 45 out straight in front.
Well, you can give credit to Ginnivan, who ran all the way from the broadcast side wing all the way across the ground. He drew a couple of defenders with him and opened up that space for Watson to run into.
How's the service, Chad?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't ask for much more than that.
If you're a leading forward, that's how you want it. No angle for Watson. 50 metres out. Gives it everything with his right boot, but misses to the right. It's a behind. Brisbane's lead is 7 points. The Lions 4-3-27. The Hawks 3-2-20. 9.5 second term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Kick from Josh Ward, who's playing some really good footy in the contract year. The former top pick of Hawthorn at the draft a few years ago. Zorko wanders out from fullback, sends it long. Battle had a fairly good piece of it. Gardner got across just in the nick of time to slap it out in front of the Brisbane bench. It'll be thrown back into play. Joel Peterson, Quentin Hull calling the footy for you. Kevin Peterson, Chad Wingard, your experts. Poppy Penny is on the boundary with us. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Can I shout out to the vacuum cleaners at Docklands? Good job. Quick turnaround there today. If you're listening to us, keep whacking away.
Yep, keep putting those...
another big crowd coming in tonight.
Plastic cups in the bags. All tumbles over the boundary line here, and it'll be tossed back in. This time centre of the members' wing. Of course, North Melbourne, Collingwood tonight. Walyalup versus Yarrabilty out west. A fascinating game. Port having been beaten heavily by Geelong last week, and Walyalup coming away with a big win over the Giants. Tossed back in. McCluggage goes looking for the footy. Newcombe takes it away for Hawthorn. Handball to Morrison. Handball to Warple. Kick low down. He's a good one to left half forward. He finds Hardwick, who turns 70 metres from goal. Wanders infield, scythes a kick toward the pocket, hands to it there from Answorth. It's spilt to a very dangerous spot, picked up by Ward, handball to Warple, great tackle McCluggage, forced it loose, and now Fletcher through Rayner and Bailey, and the Lions come blasting off half back.
A hope at a half forward. Barris read it better. A tumbling kick intended for Gardner. Barris marks for the Hawks, kicks wide to the wing. Ward takes the grab, chips infield to Weddle. Weddle between wing and right half forward. Marks, kicks wide to the pocket. Chol leads, dives, paid the mark. No, it spills out. And Andrews casually picks it up and walks over the boundary line. Those two, seriously.
Chol's in disbelief.
Heartbeats are not above 60 per minute between them.
I'm not sure if he's disbelief that he dropped the mark, that it wasn't paid, or the fact that Andrews just walked out of bounds and it wasn't called deliberate.
Seriously, that's got to be the most relaxed big man one-on-one in the game. Joel on Andrews from the throw-in. Brisbane stoppage. Berry under pressure. High clearing kick from D50, the middle of the ground, beyond the knuckle of Sicily. Jath's there to win the crumb, tackled by Cameron. No prior. Ball up.
Now, this is interesting. Watson's obviously taken Ainsworth down into the forward square, and he's done that consistently throughout the. So they must like that matchup, or they're trying to put some speed in the deeper obviously their forward line. So that's one to watch.
And contrasting only the two players within 40 metres of the Brisbane goal. Now only one inside the 50 in Darcy Gardner. Repeat stoppage in the middle after they couldn't be separated. Warple comes away with it for the Hawks. Handball back to Amon. Blaster kick inside the 50. Payne back with the flight was good. Brought it down to himself. Handball back to Ainsworth, the last link in the chain for Brisbane. 30 out from defensive goal. Hooks the kick around his body outside the defensive 50. Morrison a hand to it. Spills to Weddle, who's got some tricks in the bag from right out wide. He reaches in that time and doesn't pull out something that he likes. It floats out of bounds on the full to the near side. It is the Lions by 7. 13 gone, second term on ABC Sport.
Wherever you're listening, great to have you on board for Saturday footy. All the way over in Limerick. G'day to Jim. Go the Hawks. He's on duty at the shop, and he's got the radio on in Limerick. 0437 774 774. Take that listen app with you around the world to hear the footy. Kick towards the wing for the Lions. Leicester was the target. Couldn't mark it. Hawthorn's ball. Giath roves the crumb. Hand pass to D'Ambrosio. Brilliant entry on his left boot. 45-metre pass on the 45-degree angle infield, and Connor McDonald takes the grab, 35 out.
Yeah, and well celebrated by his teammates. I reckon I've seen 5 or 6 Hawthorn teammates get all the way over to D'Ambrosio and give him a pat on the head to say, great kick.
Gee, Chad, there's been some decent entries. I'll say it again. There's another beauty for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's a great entry. It's a great kick. He kicked it across his body. It's important for Hawthorn to change angles, because if they kick that down the line, it's going to go to the intercept markers.
Connor McDonald, no angle, 40 out. Fine kick. He's got 2. As expected, this is a pretty good stoush between two title contenders. And I think as the game goes, the punches will get bigger. They're testing each other out. It's a point the difference. Brisbane 4-3, Hawthorn 4-2.
And that was great by Blake Hardwick then. We talk about the kick by Ambrosio, and that's a great kick. Great run and draw from CJ as well to allow him the space to open his eyes and get some clear runway. But Blake Hardwick shut down that exit. So Brisbane had nowhere to go. It was a 50-50 contest. He created that spoil, which re-entries are really dangerous when you're a small forward, because the defenders are off mark, they're not on you, and then as soon as you get a quick turnover, you lick your lips, because that's your best chance to get, I suppose, a mark inside forward 50. And Connor McDonald, that's his second goal from 2 set shots, so he's kicking very straight, looks very confident out there.
Only had the 5 on the year coming into the game. Connor McDonald finding a way to impact the scoreboard at the restart. Hipwood does the ruck work for Brisbane and blasts it inside forward 50. Gardner and Barris went at the contest, and both of them missed it. Spilled away to Sicily for Hawthorn. Handball to Battle. Loops it over to Morrison. Back to Battle. Made him work for it, but he's able to collect. Now he comes out to half-back and Ward. Handball back to Battle. Now working up toward the wing, and it's turned over. McCluggage is there to pounce on it for Brisbane. He got the handball away to Fletcher. To Morris. To Will Ashcroft. Inside forward 50 for Lohman. Now back to Ashcroft, who got run down. Terrific tackle from Warple. He was there just in the nick of time, and Hawthorn come away with it. Here's Ginnivan on the members' wing.
Receive from Jath. Has to look backwards, though. There's no one in front of him. Little 1-2 hand pass exchange. Now Ginnivan kicks infield. Morrison presents to Mark. Hands to D'Ambrosio. His kick across the centre square. From members' side to southern side. Ward takes the mark. Plays on. Chips to McDonald. He looks to play on. Will do so now. Hand pass infield to Ward, and Ward hits Gunston. Short pass to the leading veteran, who takes the mark 45 metres from goal.
And Hawthorn just went from one side to the other, came back inside. We should say at Hawthorn, make the ground as big as you can on offence, so they're all running. And Ginnivan finally got a look at the ice stream. He's been running so hard all day, and that allows so much space inside forward 50. And Josh Ward, he's one of the best kicks for 15-metre kicks, and Gunston have a shot at goal here.
Excused from the trip north. Back in the team, Jack Gunston. Misses across the face. That's a behind, which levels the scores at the MCG. 17 minutes played, the second quarter. Hawthorn 4-3, Brisbane 4-3.
Wilmot to kick in for the Lions. Assesses his options. Comes short to Berry. Boy from Horsham. He comes outside the defensive 50. Payne the mark just in front of Chol. Lions with the first 2 goals of this term after they trailed by 4 at quarter time. Hawthorn with the next through McDonald. And we're all tied up between these 2 top 4 teams, the 2 premiership favourites in the pre-season. Sir Doug Nicholls round here at the MCG. Archie off half-back for Brisbane. They go into slow play. Well done, D'Ambrosio. Stood in front of Bailey. Brought it down to himself. Handball infield to Newcomb. Rides the bump. Got the handball away. Looking for Nash. Just forward of the wing. Gardner got him. Umpire says mine. Ball up in front of the Brisbane bench.
Seemed to have an opportunity to get rid of the ball. Not according to the umpire. It's Weddle and Hipwood in ruck. Neither with a telling tap. Zorko powers through defensive side of the stoppage for Brisbane. Wins the footy. Hands it to Gardner. Picks up off his toes. Good hands. Gives it off to Dunkley. Rush kick to half forward. Lohman marks. 60 from goal. Turns and chips on the head of Archie. He's unmarked and takes the mark. Cal Archie, 35 out straight in front.
Yeah, it was a great kick by Lohman. He just waited for the right opportunity to drop it into the bucket for his teammate. He had a couple streaming back to goal that would have been an attractive look for him, but took the safer and probably the more advantageous option. Is he going to kick this one, Chad? You've put the moz on him a couple of times.
I feel like after kicking the last one, you had the momentum. I reckon I'll back him here.
Yeah, missed an easy one in the first quarter. Kicked the most recent Brisbane goal. 40 out, straight in front. Good kick. And that's 2 for Cal Archie. Brisbane return to the lead. The Lions have kicked 3 straight to Hawthorn's 1-2 in this second term. It was the Hawks who led it by 4 points at quarter time, but now the Lions lead by that kick. 5-3-33 to 4-3-27.
Yeah, and that was you think about the communication with James Sicily there. It was actually a miscommunication between James Sicily and Barris, because they're both running back to goal. It was who's going on who. So you see Sicily, he runs all the way back and doesn't communicate which man he's going to. They get confused, which is why Callum Archie gets alone by himself with about 15 metres space. I mean, that kick wasn't perfect. He had to run and sit under it for about half a second. So it's a great finish, but again, you can just see the tools and smalls of the Hawthorn half-backers are just not quite communicating and gelling as you would have liked. When you have a breakdown like that, you've got to make the most of it.
Thoughts of Chad Wingard with you on ABC Sport. Inside fellow All-Australian Kieran Peterson, your experts. Dunkley from the restart for Brisbane. Handball to Will Ashcroft. Now away to Lockie Neal. Runs in an arc, defensive side of the centre circles. Kicks to the edge of the 50. Cameron kept it in front of himself. Couldn't collect it. Jaff did for Hawthorn. Handball to Eamon, just inside the defensive 50. A spearing kick. That's why he is one of the elite kicks in the competition. Carl Eamon finds the chest of Ginnivan. Ginnivan gave it back to Eamon. And now to Morrison, defensive side of the wing. Kicks infield for Weddle, not 15. Play on called. Newcomb, handball over his head to Nash. Now on the AFL logo. Handball into trouble. Sicily's been put down by Hipwood. Picked up by Lohman in the meantime. It is going to be a free kick to Sicily.
That was late. That's a late callback.
And the Lions were out at half forward through Archie. But the Hawthorn captain will take it from inside the centre square.
With the long sleeves. Kicks it now towards the right half-back flank. Battle in plenty of space. Takes the uncontested mark for the Hawks. Kicks it to Ward, who marks. He chips upfield to Moore. Takes the grab. Kicks infield. Nash there to take the mark. Plays on under pressure. Kick is good, though. Connor McDonald marks on 55. Runs to 45. Kicks his third. To level the scores once again. And Connor McDonald... 3 goals before half-time. Brisbane 5-3, Hawthorn 5-3. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Kieran Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts.
Well, he's certainly got his kicking boots on, hasn't he? That's a terrific finish. And Hawthorn probably got away with one in the middle. I was watching that replay with Hipwood. He hit him square in the chest. I don't think it was too far past the ball, so... I don't know if there's anything really there, Chad. You probably got a better look at it.
It's a goal for the umpires there. That's I think it'd be filthy if you're Brisbane. I mean, but you can't control that. It's a bad call, yes, and it's gone the other way and it's gone for 6 points. It's almost like a 12-point turnaround. But how do you respond now? So the good teams move on quickly and impact the game straight away. So you can't dwell on it. What can you do now? Win this centre bounce and get it going forward.
So that's the challenge ahead of the Lions. Darcy Fort's in there to try and allow them to do it. He's going to do it himself. He gets the kick away toward the front edge of the square. Jaff's there for Hawthorn. And they link up and get moving again, these Hawthorn runners. Morrison to Newcomb, centre of the Shane Warne stand wing. An aggressive kick in field. Nash the target. Fort puts his fist through it. It rumbles into the middle of the ground. Scooped up by Gardner for Brisbane. Handball back to Zorko, feigns the kick around Ginnivan, and then he cuts one up the middle to Lohman. Mark 60 from home, rolls onto his right, low kicks, an absolute beauty to fall forward, and Charlie Cameron walks it in. And that might just get his engine revving. Brisbane out by a goal. 6-3-39 to 5-3-33 Hawthorn, trading blows in this second term. We're 23 minutes through.
And that's a great response. You think about Zorko, he was running onto his right in the centre of the ground. He could have blazed away, would have suited what Hawthorn was setting up. They have a spare down there, Barrison, battle, they would have probably marked that. He changed angles, and that's what can really open up teams who obviously have got really good interceptors because they play in front of their defender. They play where you think you're going to kick it, so they read the play. But Brisbane changing an angle, selling it, and then obviously you get to reap the rewards as a forward when you have good ball movement like that. But great response. Let's see if Hawthorn can respond down the other end.
It's providing what we hoped so far. These two teams, both in the top four, the way that the ladder looked pre-round, but both coming up losses. Clearance at centre bounce time to the Lions. Neal with a deep entry for Brisbane, but Scrimshaw reads it well. Gets in the hole to take the mark at full-back for Hawthorn. Clearing left boot towards the wing. Bounces over the head of Ginnivan. Bounces away from Hardwick. Neal there to mop up the devilish bouncing ball for the Lions. Kicks it around his body to the wing. Zorko takes the grab. Plays on. Right foot kick from the Zork to a 2-on-2. And out the back, Archie Rose gives to Charlie, make it 2 out the back in the space of 2 minutes. And he celebrates with the Indigenous dance in the pocket. Cameron given another gift by Kalachi. He goes bang, bang, and it's a 2-goal lead to the Lions. It's 7-3 to 5-3. 24 and a half second term.
And I'm just going to speak on Hawthorn's defenders again, because obviously I'm going to be biased. I want Hawthorn to go well, but they've had 3 defenders that are great marks, and again they go up with 2 hands trying to mark the ball, and it goes out the back. As a defensive unit, that ball must never go out the back. Either put a fist through it or commit to the mark. 3 people trying to mark it and goes out the back. I mean, that's beautiful dance here by Charlie Cameron, showing his culture, showing his expression, and being Sir Doug Nicholls round. What a better time to do it. I mean, kick 2 goals in a row. I mean, you've got to whip it out and show that you're pretty proud of yourself and where you come from. But Hawthorn, they need to know when to spoil, when to mark, because their defenders at the moment has cost them probably 2 shots on goal from just miscommunication.
5 straight in this second term for the Lions, and they go again in the middle of the ground. Dunkley lays across the kick from Meek. Free kick and advantage to Brisbane. Fletcher to Dunkley. A spiralling kick to half forward. Rayner comes out to meet it. Didn't take it on the full. Spills inside forward 50 from the Lions. Berry was there. Kept it moving Fort. Handball to Hipwood. Now to Charlie for 3 on the bounce. Charlie Cameron is owning the MCG in Sir Doug Nicholls round. 3 goals in the space of 4 minutes for the mercurial forward. And he is showing every bit of his talent. 8-3-51 to 5-3-33. Brisbane, and more importantly, Charlie Cameron, have broken the game open at the 26-minute mark of the second.
Hasn't he, What? My goodness me, he's just completely taken over. And if his form's been questioned in the last month or so, he's well and truly replied with a statement. What a beautiful snap on the left from probably 35-40 out. Terrific finish he's got going, and he's become a problem, as is Zorko off the half-back line. They're just the turnovers that they're being able to affect. Zorko's up to 17 touches for the game. He's been a real driver off the back line, but that forward craft from Brisbane at the moment, which is well and truly being aided, starting to see Cam Rayner get going off half forward as well. All their prime movers getting involved.
Kes Peterson with you on Saturday Footy on ABC Sport. Charlie Cameron, it has been a flat 2025 to this point. That's certainly a highlight. Another clearance for the Lions at stoppage time. Neil roves the tap, hands to McCluggage, kick inside 50. Where's Charlie? Nowhere near this stoppage. Sicily out the back though. Cleans up for the Hawks. Hand passes to Battle. Battle's kick. Bounces for Newcomb. He evades the tackle of Cameron Just. Hands it to McKenzie. Hands it to Jath. Jath hands it to Nash, who runs right half back. Kicks the Hawks towards the southern wing. It's there for Watson. Has to play spoiler. Moore's there to try and mop up. Does well. Farms it out. McDonald's hand pass turned over though. Levi Ashcroft for the Lions. Hands it to Answorth. Hands it forward to half forward where McCluggage gathers. Kicks inside 50. Hipwood takes the mark. Near the boundary, 45 from goal, left half forward. And Eric takes a moment to assess things. Doesn't kick for goal, sets it to the top of the goal mouth. Newcomb third in, couldn't take the mark, rove by Archie, hands to Neil, gives it to Dunkley, snap from the pocket, doesn't have the penetration. Scrimshaw doesn't mark, then can't rush it for a point. Gardner tackles him. Says ball up, right on the goal line.
Couldn't be any closer to the action here. Lions by 3 goals, courtesy of a hat-trick from Charlie Cameron. Meek reaches up, slaps it down straight to McCluggage, walking the tightrope in the right forward pocket. Across the face of goal, spills to Levi Ashcroft, who feigns, straightens and scores. Oh, the talent of this precocious rookie. We know it runs in the family. And Levi, where his dad played a club record 38 games, making himself at home on the MCG stage. 4 in a row now for the Lions, and that's their break. 9-3-57 to 5-3-33. 29 gone, second term.
That's the maternal genes. Choppers couldn't do that.
Oh, my goodness. That was unbelievable. He just broke the ankles of Connor Nash. I mean, welcome back. You've had 3 weeks off, and I've just absolutely taken your ankle, sold candy, straightened up, and just sent it straight through. That's an unbelievable finish. And like I said, Brisbane have got the last 4 and really got some momentum here. How do Hawthorn respond? They need to get out of this centre circle. They're just not getting any momentum going forward. And do they need to change it up, get someone else in there? They've got 3 balls in there at the moment, Warple, Newcomb and Cam McKenzie.
Well, it has been coming from the centre. Centre bounce clearances this term. 11 to, what is it, 7-2. 7-3 now. Hawthorn get that one, but it's chopped off by Leicester inside defensive 50 for Brisbane. Yep, so centre bounce clearances, Chad and Kes, 7-3 in favour of the Lions, and they've kicked 7 goals straight. Leicester's kick towards the wing. Off hands, Bailey runs past, gathers the ball, kicks Brisbane towards attacking 50. Barris at the front, nudged underneath it by Hipwood, free kick. Archie plays on and has probably given away a 50-metre penalty by having a shot on goal. And indeed, that's the way the umpire sees it. Yeah, Brisbane has kicked 7 straight to Hawthorn's 2-2 so far in this second quarter. The Hawks led by 4 points. Quarter time, it's now the Lions by 4 goals, and there's been a moment or two to regather the share. And now down to Poppy Penny on the boundary. Poppy.
Yeah, just quickly on that, updating on that incident behind the goals. They have managed to move that person from that bay behind the goals at the City End, but only just now. So that's been a really long time. And as they move them with the privacy shields.
Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed for the individuals involved there. It's a pretty distressing scene at the City end of the ground. Ball inside forward 50 for the Hawks. Watson's caught in the tackle and will have a ball up. That really happened right at the start of the game when Poppy spotted that as well, where almost at half-time. Warple from the stoppage. Kick not the 15. McDonald's got 3 already. How about another? Not quite. For Connor McDonald, his kicks away to the left-hand side. It's a minor score, and it breaks a run of Brisbane scoring. 23 points the Lions lead. 31 minutes gone. Second term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
And the Hawks, you'd think, would be happy enough to hear the siren in a minute's time, just to break the momentum that the Lions have been able to get in this second term. Short inbound taken by Gardner, who's back where we usually see him in the back line. Long kick now from Gardner towards a pack on the wing. Off hands, Weddle wins the crumb for Hawthorn. Rushed hand pass out the back, no room for Sicily to create. He takes the ball over the boundary line right near the interchange gates. And the natural light starting to fade. There is a little bit of a pink hue in the sky. Light towers of the MCG are on. It's been, as mentioned, just a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in late May. Boundary throw in. And Mackenzie's immediately wrapped up by Fort. So we'll do it again. True centre wing in front of the MCC members. Well, again, no real telling clearance there. Newcombe and Bailey tangle with each other. I'll try one more time, Joel. Fort got the first hand that time.
The head over it.
Yeah, the umps are going to sort it out. Free kick to Newcombe in the stoppage. The Hawks have got 20 seconds to make something of this. Newcombe's on the wing. Kicks Hawthorn into attack. Big fist from Gardner for Brisbane. Clears a pack of about 6. Roved by Charlie Cameron. He's doing it at both ends. Hands it to Dunkley. Hands to Fletcher. Fletcher to Ashcroft. Levi. He chips it short to Lester, and that'll do us for a half of footy at the MCG, which really was blown open by Charlie Cameron in the space of a couple of minutes in the back stages of that second quarter. We get to half-time, and the Lions kicked 7 goals straight. That's right. 7.0 to Hawthorn's 2.3. 2 goals, 3 for the Hawks, 7 straight for Brisbane. And what was a 4-point lead for Hawthorn at quarter time, it's now a 23-point lead for Brisbane at the long break. 9 goals, 357, plays 5, 4, 34. Charlie Cameron with 3 of those 9 goals. Logan Morris has 2. Kalachi also has a couple, and singles to Levi Ashcroft and Zach Bailey. For Hawthorn, Connor McDonald has 3 of the 5. The others are singles to Hardwick and Weddle. Chad Wingard, Kez Peterson. A little deeper dive as to how the Lions found the accelerator there to get the upper hand at the long break.
Yeah, well, you think about the clearances, it's 21-17, but they were winning all the centre clearances that possession, and they had time in their forward half. But you think about, I think it started with Kalamachi. He kicked 2 in a row, and he really set the tone. And then, Charlie Cameron's like, well, I need to get part of the party. I'm going to kick the next 3. So, well, for me, we spoke about their first quarter at Brisbane, that their lack of, I suppose, execution in front of goal. They kicked 2 goals, 3, but they probably had about 6 or 7 shots, 2 shots that didn't register. They just kicked 7 goals straight that quarter. That's what's absolutely dominated. They kicked shots from ones that they probably shouldn't have kicked. I mean, Charlie Cameron on his left, running to the boundary about 40 metres out. Like, they had much easier ones than Kalamachi had 15 metres out and hit the post. So the execution for me, and just the dominance, they really lifted their intensity. I thought they won the tackle count. They won the contested possession. All the, I suppose, the trenches battle, the battle of the trenches. Brisbane won that. They started lifting in their physicality, and I don't think Hawthorn responded. I mean, they responded with a couple goals, but Connor McDonald kicking 3 is really keeping him amongst it. I think, for me, if you're Hawthorn right now, you need to change the mix-up potentially in the centre bounces, try and get some speed in there. I would love to see Watson or someone else, someone with a bit of potency, a bit of speed in there, because they do have Nash, Warple and Mackenzie. 3 players that I wouldn't say are getting, I suppose, quick outside of stoppages. I'm looking at Brisbane, and they're getting outside of Hawthorn a lot, whether it's centre bounces, whether it's stoppages, or whether it's generally in play. When it comes to, it's a contest, and then you see a handball release, and Brisbane are out and running. You normally would say that of Hawthorn. You normally say Hawthorn get outside of you and they start running and they get down the other side. But that quarter, Brisbane really got out of the stoppages, out of the contest, and no one in their vision, no one in their way, and they've got time to, I suppose, make really good calls. So Hawthorn really needs to lift their intensity, needs to start winning a trench battle and really start bringing the fight to them.
Now, I'd be surprised if Hawthorn don't have a plan for Brisbane's clearance work. They would have known coming into the game that that's a real area of strength for Brisbane, and whether they weren't able to get the message from the coach's box down while that momentum was really generated by Brisbane, I'm sure they've got a plan that they'll have to go to at halftime, whether it's personnel like you've mentioned, Chad, or whether it's just their setup and their structure. But I'd be surprised if they don't come out with something different. Just thought the way that they set up, particularly, this is Brisbane, set up particularly well on their half back line, and then were able to really generate a lot of their run and carry through turnover. And again, I mentioned Zorko through that quarter. He had 11 touches and 3 score involvements in that second quarter alone. He was a real driver of that. And then it was that connection piece with their half forwards. And again, we've touched on Charlie Cameron's influence on the game and his slow start to the year, but Kyle Lohman being another one. he hasn't kicked a goal yet, but he's getting involved in the up the ground at that half forward line, and he's often been the link in the next one in the chain that goes inside forward 50. So he's having a real influence on the game as well. But I'm just really enjoying the connection between the half-back and the high half forwards of Brisbane at the moment. And the challenge for them is going to be, can they sustain this for 4 quarters? Because the last 2 weeks they've really faded in that last quarter. And if you give a team like Hawthorn an opportunity to get back in the game late in the game with a crowd behind them, I'd hate to think what the repeat effort for Brisbane and what Chris Fagan might say in the post-game.
Just on that connection piece too, so 4 goals coming from the defensive half in terms of scoring chains for Brisbane to 1 of Hawthorn in that first half, and when they got up and going last year, that's what Brisbane absolutely dominated the competition at. So some signs that ball movement piece is starting to come back forward. And
both teams trying to bounce back from losses last week. Half-time at the MCG, Brisbane by 23 points. 9-3-57 to the Hawks 5-4-34. Earlier today, Greater Western Sydney, too good for Carlton. The Giants by 28 points at Docklands, 17-8-110 to the Blues, 12-10-82. The doubling up across town, North Melbourne and Collingwood to play this evening. Meanwhile, in the West, it's the Dockers and the Power. Both calls available on the ABC Listen app, as is the case for the National Rugby League. The green button if you want to hear the league. Just 2 games in the lead into State of Origin 1. No matter where you are, I know it's, here we are in the heart of Australian football territory, but this is a ground that's hosted State of Origin. It gets everyone up. You don't have to be in New South Wales or Queensland. Make sure you tune in on Wednesday night for Game 1 from Lang Park. So there are just 2 games today in the abridged round due to the Origin. Penrith shortly to take on Newcastle, then the Roosters taking on Cronulla. Thanks for your texts. Keep them coming in on 0437 774 774. Please send us your name and where you're texting from. 0437 774 774. You'll like this one, Kez, before you get to the halftime snacks. Richard from Geelong says, I'm sorry to report to Moose that I can't see a single long sock on any of the 72 legs on the field. I think that forevermore the long sock count should be called the Moose rating. I know you were you liked that text before.
Moose gets in touch a lot.
He's a loyal listener.
He's a very loyal listener. He might have had to go down to South Bendigo today to see some long sock operators. So, none out there this afternoon, but keep watching, Moose.
G'day to Will, who texts, I can confirm that ABC Sport sounds great in London. Go Lions. And Paul from Mount Dunedin text, and I wasn't going to bring this up until someone else did, but now it gives me the chance. I did take a while on Thursday night while listening to the call from Cardinia Park and then watching the pictures. I'm thinking, hold on, aren't Geelong white backs with blue numbers? Aren't the Bulldogs blue backs with white numbers? And it was the other way around because they wanted to wear both of their Indigenous jerseys, which is fine. That's a part of Sir Doug Nicholls' round. I love it as long as you don't send footy fans nuts. I was watching at home with the family and kids are thinking, hold on, who's got the ball? And Paul text, at the Doggies-Cats game, it was a jumper clash in reverse. The Cats had dark blue Indigenous jumper looking more like the Dogs, and the Doggies were nearly all white looking like the Cats. It took me a quarter to stop barracking for Geelong.
And being from someone, if Paul's from Mount Dunedin, just outside Geelong, I think he wouldn't want, that'd be the last thing he'd want, to barrack for the Cats at any point.
Yeah, and look, that's the Indigenous jumpers are fantastic, but whoever thought that, how about you get the Cats playing the Dogs looking like each other? It was a little confusing. Keep your thoughts coming in, 0437 774 774. Make sure you send us your name and where you're texting from. It's Brisbane, a 7-goal second term. They lead by 23 points at half-time. You're hearing Saturday Footy on ABC Sport. Back at the G after the news.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. An investigation is underway into the death of a 60-year-old New South Wales woman in floodwaters. Emily Anderson reports.
Police say the woman and an officer had been driving in a convoy on Wednesday night when the pair reached floodwaters near Dorrigo, west of Coffs Harbour. Police said the officer gave the woman his phone number before he turned around, and the woman kept driving. Her body was found the next day. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns says there will be a full investigation.
I'm not prepared, in the absence of an investigation to condemn the police or the police officer involved. That's a heavy burden for a young officer to take.
As flood conditions ease, authorities say the disaster has entered the clean-up phase. But the SES is warning people not to drive around closed roads.
The M1 is expected to be reconnected from 6 o'clock local time tonight as a single lane in either direction after it was hit with floodwaters. Roads Minister Jenny Aitchison says the network has taken a real bashing and will need significant assistance.
The amount of garbage and debris that is on the roadway from the floods is extensive. Transport crews have been working relentlessly to try and clean it up, but they'll only be able to open one lane and there will be removal happening in that other lane. So we need people to really comply with those restrictions.
Authorities are again reminding bushwalkers in Tasmania to be prepared for an emergency after a tourist had to be rescued in the Cradle Mountain Lake St Clair National Park overnight. Police say the woman in her 30s was walking alone on the Lake Wilkes track and became lost. She was rescued without injury about 1:45 this morning. She was relying solely on a smartphone for navigation, and police say the lack of mobile phone charge and a torch contributed to the need for her to be rescued. 35 new road safety cameras have been switched on across Victoria as part of ongoing moves to reduce deaths on the state's roads. Jason Katsaris has more.
At a cost of nearly $50 million, the state government has installed 35 new red light and speed cameras across the state. The government says speed contributes to approximately a third of all road trauma in Victoria, or around 100 deaths and 2,000 serious injuries every year, with the money raised from speed and red light fines going towards road restoration works. And research by Monash University shows a 47% reduction in crashes where cameras are installed. 119 lives have been lost on Victorian roads this year, 9 more than at this time last year.
The father of 2 girls who died from methanol poisoning while overseas last year have thanked the girls' former football club in Melbourne South East for hosting a memorial round in their honour. The Beaumaris Sharks Football Club says it'll host an annual memorial round in honour of former premiership players Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones. The best friends died in a Thai hospital last November after drinking cocktails tainted with methanol in Laos. Miss Bowles' father, Sean Bowles, says days like today help him feel the support they received from all of Australia.
They're a pretty tight bunch, and Holly and Bianca had better impact on a lot of them. A lot of them are really good friends. So, as hard as it is for us, it is for them as well.
Overseas, several Palestinians have told the Associated Press news agency that Israeli troops are systematically forcing Palestinians to act as human shields in Gaza. They say they're sending them into buildings and tunnels to check for explosives or militants, and that the dangerous practice has become ubiquitous during the war. In response to the allegations, the Israeli military says it strictly prohibits using civilians as shields, a practice it's long accused Hamas of using in Gaza. Israeli officials blame the militants for the civilian death toll in its offensive that's killed tens of thousands of Palestinians. New regulations in Britain will see a change in the ways zoos deal with animals in their care, including a requirement for bigger enclosures for elephants. More from the BBC's Esme Stallard.
These updated standards, which include a ban on tethering birds of prey and curbing the sourcing of animals from the wild, hope to improve welfare levels across the country. The move has been welcomed by the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which represents more than 130 sites. But some members have said the changes could go further. Currently, checks are carried out by local authorities, which they say leads to variations in levels of enforcement. Critics have also said wild animal licences are too readily issued.
And Australian tennis player Maya Joint has reached her first WTA Tour final by defeating Ayla Tomljanovic in the Moroccan Open semi-finals. You're listening to ABC News.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, the World Test Championship, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app.
G'day, this is Macca.
Macca, you're talking about the cost of everything. Chocolate went up 500% last week. So we'll start growing that in far northern Queensland. Come on, you Queensland farmers. How about pineapples? Grow some cacao.
Love you to join me every Sunday, ABC Radio and the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Nash there to take the mark, plays on under pressure. Kick is good though. Connor McDonald marks on 55, runs to 45, kicks his third to level the scores once again.
Handball back to Zorko, feigns the kick around Ginnivan, and then he cuts one up the middle to Lohman. Marks 60 from home, rolls onto his right, low kicks, an absolute beauty to fall forward, and Charlie Cameron walks it in. And that might just get his engine revving.
Zorko takes the grab, plays on, right foot kick from the Zork to a 2-on-2. And out the back, Archie Rose gives to Charlie, make it 2 out the back in the space of 2 minutes. And he celebrates with the Indigenous dance in the pocket.
I mean, that's beautiful dance here by Charlie Cameron, showing his culture, showing his expression, and being Sir Doug Nicholls round, what a better time to do it. I mean, kick 2 goals in a row. I mean, you've got to whip it out and show that you're pretty proud of yourself and where you come from.
Spills inside forward 50 from the Lions. Berry was there, kept it moving forward. Handball to Hipwood, now to Charlie for 3 on the bounce! Charlie Cameron is owning the MCG. Meek reaches up, slaps it down straight to McCluggage, walking the tightrope in the right forward pocket. Across the face of goal, spills to Levi Ashcroft, who feigns, straightens and scores.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The natural light all but gone, so twilight becomes the evening on this gorgeous Saturday. Welcome back to the MCG. My name is Quentin Hull, and courtesy of a Charlie Cameron surge, it's the Brisbane Lions who enjoy a 23-point lead at half-time over the Hawks. Scores were level at the 23-minute mark of that second quarter, but Brisbane kicked the last 4 goals of the quarter. They kicked 7 straight to 2 goals, 3 in that second term to turn a 4-point quarter-time deficit into a 23-point half-time lead. Lions 9-3-57 to the Hawks 5-4-34. Keep your messages coming on 0437 774 774. I'm calling the action with Joel Peterson, Karen Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts. Poppy Penny's down on the boundary. A few texts about the jumpers. Annie in Canberra says, to be fair, the Lions jumper at the back could be the Suns. Yeah, but that's sort of that's always the Fitzroy look. It's people are used to that, so I don't think that's as confusing. But thank you for your message, Annie. Peter from Adelaide texts, growing up in the old days watching North Melbourne play Collingwood on black and white TV, only knowing who was who by the colour of the shorts, I've never had a challenge knowing which team was which. I cannot understand what the challenge is with the jumpers. Thank you, Peter from Adelaide.
Yeah, I recall on pretty dodgy TVs back in the day growing up a North supporter and sort of having to squint the odd occasion.
Here's a question on this game, and I'll refer to Chad and to Kez here. Shannon from Frankston asks... Or texts. The Hawks are playing a game which needs to be touch perfect because they draw each other to the contest rather than kicking to space for a teammate to run onto the ball. Also, any Hawks want to play in front and centre. The Lions are picking up every ball which falls in front of a pack uncontested, and Jack Ginnivan needs some real football fortitude. He pulled out of 2 tackles last quarter. Both times it resulted in direct goals to the Lions. That's the kind of text that we can only get through at half-time when we have a bit of time. But thank you, Shannon from Frankston, 0437 774 774. I was about to go to you on that one, but I love this. I've just come in. Paul from Devonport. The Wi-Fi is down, so 11-year-old son Alessandro has uncovered the radio and is now learning how much better commentary is when he has to use the visual imagination. Go Hawks! Thank you, Paul. The old transistor radio. Good on you guys. Chad, Kez.
Yeah, I'm going back to that question from the viewer or the listener. Hawthorn, yeah, their forwards are struggling. Besides Connor McDonald, most of them are getting outmatched and outclassed. And you think about Gunston, who's been obviously pretty dominant this year. He's the leading goal kicker for Hawthorn. He's averaging over 3 goals a game. He's only had 3 touches. So you think about Payne and Andrews really doing the job on him and Chole's only had the 2 touches. Watson's only had the 2 touches. Ginnivan's had 3 touches. I mean, they've had similar inside forward 50s. It's not that much discrepancy, but they're just, like you said, not playing in front, not being involved, not getting marks, obviously inside forward 50, but also not putting the pressure on to keep it in there to get repeat entries. So if you're Hawthorn, you're going to make sure Ginnivan is running. Being here, Ginnivan's working his butt off. He's really working to open up the rest of the space for him. So sometimes as a forward, it doesn't come your way, but I think it's really the tools like Chol and Gunston. They really need to find their way to get in this game or have a predictable drop for these small forwards to be potent. I would love to see Watto get up the ground a little bit more. I think he's getting a bit wasted. I watched him last week in Darwin and he was absolutely dominant, kicking 3 goals in that first half, and I hope to see him get amongst it a little bit more and get him in the same. Dylan Moore's a bit quiet and has been a little bit this year, so some guys that need a lift, but Connor McDonald's really holding him in good stead at the moment. But I expect a big lift from the Hawks forwards, and especially in the competitive nature, getting that ball to the contest, getting front and centre and just getting some goals from pure grunt.
Yeah, I think the thing that's going to help that, particularly late in the second term, we saw a lot of turnover on Hawthorn's half-forward line. So if they're able to just maintain possession, they were really good at that in the first quarter, being able to switch sides and be able to change the angles, come back through the middle of the ground when the time was right. That's going to help the forwards and their leading patterns, and then clearly going to help the small forwards get to their feet. So being a little bit more predictable to each other, I think, will certainly help that. But absolutely, Ginnivan and Watson, I agree. Ginnivan is working his absolute backside off. He's creating space for his teammates. Love to see him get a bit more involved, and Watson might go through the middle. Chad, you mentioned that as well, just to change it up for Hawthorn.
What have the Hawks got in response? 23 points the lead to Brisbane. Third term about to get underway with the artificial light now taking over at the MCG. Meek with the first tap from the bounce. Didn't find a rover first time. Warple picks up his hand pass in the air, taken by Rayner, who's wrapped up by Newcomb. Ball still in the bullseye. And another stoppage. We'll get to Poppy on the boundary in a moment. It looks like the Hawks may have swung a change at half-time. Rayner sort of shrugged off his kick, tumbled to Neal, kicks it to half forward. Hipwood can't pick up. Ricochet back to the middle of the ground and back to Neal. Hands it to Rayner, who's tackled by Moore. Yes, holding the ball. Free kick to Dylan Moore.
All-Australian from last year, Dylan Moore. Pushes his kick out wide to right half forward. Morrison marks, turns immediately and chips it forward to Newcomb. 60 from home in front of the members. Hawthorn kicking to the city end here in this third term. Lions kicked 7 goals straight in that second quarter. The biggest score Hawthorn's conceded any quarter so far this year. Long kick to full forward, reaching over the top is Payne. Brought it down to the front of the pack and Neal was there and ready. Blasted outside the defensive 50 to a pack. It'll get out the back and Archie will be first there. Hacks it off the deck to centre half forward. Scrimshaw's up to meet it at pace for Hawthorn. Did beautifully. Handball to Warple. Handball to Jaff. And now they link up through the middle of the ground. Nash's touch kick is poked out in front of Ginnivan. It'll get to him on the bounce. He paddles it in front of himself and again, and it rolls out in front of Jack Ginnivan. Tossed in front of the members, just forward of centre for the Hawks.
You feel for Ginnivan then. He works so hard, and that kick could have went anywhere else but there. Like, you just give him a chance to mark it. If they get it marked just outside 50, then they're a chance to get another one inside forward 50. So just their skill execution, just letting Hawthorn down at the moment.
Chad Wingard with you on ABC Sport. No clearance from the boundary throw in. Neal's underneath but tackled immediately by Morrison. So gives the ball back to the umps. The text, I think it was Karen saying that she loves the pale blue umpires strip. More underneath the stoppage on the wing. Clearance Hawks, hands it to Newcomb, hands to Nash, hands to Amon. Kicks from members wing to southern wing, across the centre square. Taken by Ward on the bounce. Hand passes to Sicily. Tries to evade Bailey. Does. Gets the hand pass to Morrison. Hands it to Amon. 2 kicks from goal. Left half forward. Centering kick into attacking 50. Great angle. And it's marked uncontested by Warple in the corridor, 35 out.
Yeah, it was much better ball movement by Hawthorn. Again, we see them when they switch sides, and probably could argue it was a bit of a risky kick going across the middle of the ground, but it just puts the Brisbane defenders scrambling to find their position again. And on that occasion, Warple just finds himself in space with no direct opponent anywhere near him and relatively uncontested mark.
And the Hawks need a steadier earlier in this third term, having conceded the last 4 goals in the game. Warple from 45, near side with the kick. It's a behind. 22 the lead to Brisbane. Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Yeah, Finn McGuinness has just run onto the ground. Mackenzie has been subbed out.
Mackenzie had a guard on his left hand earlier in the game and didn't even go out to the huddle before this second half started. Just walked straight to the bench with Jenny Screen. So done for the rest of the day. Kick out from the Lions. Moore dragged underneath the pack. It's spilt free. Dunkley, hand pass to Neil, off to Zorko, kick up the middle is good, floats its way to Bailey, who marks in the centre circles, offload hand pass to Fletcher, and now to the run of Rayner, who bursts to 52, eyes the sticks, and drills a brilliant goal. Cam Rayner puts a 5th in a row through for Brisbane, who open it out to a game-high 28 points, 10-3-63 to 5-5-35. 4 gone, third term, and the Lions pick up where they left off.
And they just went directly from the middle of the ground, D50, straight through the corridor, untouched, uncontested. And again, remember I said at half-time that Brisbane look like they're getting outside of Hawthorn. They're getting in space, whether it's a handball release or it's a kick that obviously gets them in good space. They had so much space. Rayner could have bounced. He could have had another 3 or 4, I suppose, teammates alongside of him. So Brisbane are just getting outside them with their ball use. It's handball in the right spot. It's getting in front of them. It's the small 1%ers. But Hawthorn really need to start closing down Brisbane.
It's been a flex from the Premiers the last 20 minutes. And another clearance here. McCluggage hand pass to Berry, defensive side of the pack. Berry's hand pass, though, jumped on by Warple. He's tackled by Dunkley. So Warple's done well to keep that in the bullseye. And another stoppage. Chucked in the air. Fort tapped down but Ginnivan Roves. Hands to Weddle. Tackled by Cameron. Oh, and the ump was very quick on the trigger for the ball up there. Weddle kicked it, but no, the ump had said ball it up. So they go again. Still in the middle. Fort taps down. Warple tackled off his clearance. He goes again at ground level. Tackled by Neil. Your turn, Joel. Can't get it out of there. Another ball up.
John Howarth tosses it up again. McCluggage on hands and knees. Meek extracts it in the end for Hawthorn. Handball looking for Ginnivan. Berry, he fights for it. Picked up by Nash. Toe pokes it forward. Straight to Fletcher of the Lions. Kick right up the middle of the ground. Looking for Hipwood. Hit him in the shoulder off the bounce. Scooped up by Morris. Scrimshaw's all over him. Morris got a kick away while he was lying on his back. That was inventive. And as far as Weddle of Hawthorn, now Morrison shows the footy to them, runs in field, handball to Weddle, handball back out wide, Cameron runs interference, picked up by Morrison, dragged down by Berry, all in front of the interchange gates. Hawthorn in possession but under siege. And now it comes away through Morrison. In fact, it was Warple whose kicks turned over to Lester. He cuts it in field to Lachie Neale on the AFL logo.
Who continues to have a big role in a Brisbane game. The 2-time Brownlow medalist kicks it to Ford. Hands to Zorko. 70 out. Bang. Deep entry to the pocket. Sicily too good though. 1-on-1 in the cage with Archie. Give that one to the Hawk skipper. Takes the chest mark in the left back pocket in a time of need. I really did need that steadying goal early on. Chad and Kez, the Hawks, the Lions can go missing in games. We have seen that this year, but maybe that's eradicated for the time being. Giath received in the pocket, kicks the left half back. Barris takes a good mark, plays on, kicks it to Connor McDonald, who marks defensive side of the southern wing. Crowd thought that maybe Hipwood got in the wrong spot for 50. Ump didn't agree. But it's slow ball movement here for Hawthorn. And McDonald bangs a hoper towards left half forward. Andrews underneath it. Can't mark. Gunston does the roving for Hawthorn. Hands it to Nash, 60 from goal. Fens high on Levi Ashcroft and gives away a free kick for too high on the younger of the two brothers. And the ball wasn't returned to him either.
Just got him in a throw. I mean, Nash is one of the taller midfielders. He's about 190, 192. So when he tries to fend off, he has to get a little bit lower because the smaller midfielders, you've got to get him in the face. You're going to get him in a throw, and that's exactly what happened.
He's an imposing figure, the Irishman. Levi Ashcroft wanders off half-back. Sends a kick out to the wing. Through the hands of Bailey. Picked up by McDonald, who's got 3 goals in the game for Hawthorn. Handball in field's an inventive one. Finds Newcomb. Slips the tackle of McCluggage. And now he eyes up inside the forward 50. Kicks deep. Chol's floating back there. Watson's in position A. It's fisted away from them. Again, good defence from that Lions trio. Handsworth in the one-on-one battle with Watson. Was able to get his arm to it. And slaps it out toward the boundary line where it'll be thrown in. Left forward pocket. The Hawks in attack to the city end. Brisbane by a game-high 28 points. 8 minutes gone in the third term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Meek front spot, slaps it down. Ginnivan had it, lost it, kick smothered, picked up by Berry. Off to Neal, disposal 23. Hit and hope into the centre of the ground. Cut off by Sicily for the Hawks.
Chance to go back into attack. Short kick from Sicily is a good one. It basically chipped it over the man on the mark, just the required 15. Nash marks on 50. True centre half forward.
Might have been 14 and a half.
Well, Kez, I'm happy to go with the adjudication of those closer. But yes, it was the shortest of required distances.
The one with the whistle tends to win out.
Yeah. So the Hawks need this goal just to stop this run of 5 for Brisbane. Connor Nash, after a month on the sidelines, he owes his team some and bangs a big goal from outside the arc. That's just what Hawthorn needed. Stops a run of 5 against. 22 points the lead for Brisbane. 9 minutes travelled, third term. Lions 10-3, 63. Hawks 6-5, 41. And Connor Nash with his second goal of the season.
Well, it wasn't overly convincing the way that Hawthorn were able to get that first goal of the second half, but it was well and truly needed. Just stops that momentum from Brisbane. And Q, you mentioned before, it could just take one goal for Hawthorn just to really ignite them and get them going, and that might have been it. So for Hawthorn, it appears around the ground that their answer to the clearance question that we posed at halftime is to send more numbers there, try and win it out with the weight of numbers and get the ball rolling forward, which is what they did in that occasion.
Back in the middle, Meek and Fort do battle. Warple extracts it to McGuinness, the activated sub in place of Cam McKenzie for the Hawks. Handball turned over, scooped up by Will Ashcroft to Neal, to Ashcroft, to Rayner, looking outside, got the handball to Bailey, who scoots through the 50. Handball over the top to Gardner, 40 from home, Jats closing. Gardner got the kick away, under the pressure he missed. Away to the left-hand side. He draws the applause of the Hawthorn fans. 23 points that lead. Brisbane 10-4. Hawthorn 6-5. 10 gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
I know he kicked 4 last week, but that still looked a bit fish out of water for Darcy Gardner. Down forward on the quick shot. Weddle runs beyond the square. Long inbound for the Hawks. Out towards the southern wing. Lockie Neal. Someone put a lock on him. He's got the ball again. Hands it to Zorko. Tries to fist it to the boundary line. D'Ambrosio, though, keeps it in for the Hawks. Rush kick to half forward. Gunston from behind makes the spoil on Payne. Roped by Hardwick. Flopped it back to Gunston. Somehow nudged it to Moore. Not pretty. Now his hand pass to Hardwick. Given to D'Ambrosio. Rush kick towards the pocket. Watson in the battle against Answorth. Oh, Andrews comes in third man. Knuckles it clear. Goes to Hipwood, who tried a clearing kick, ricochets off bodies and out of play for a boundary throw-in. We shouldn't be surprised, Kez and Chad, but what do you do when you're Sam Mitchell and his coaching team and you've got Lockie Neal just taking the game away from you?
Well, you've got Finn McGuinness there, so he's one that you could definitely activate whenever you need. But for me, if you're losing the clearance battle already, do you send another number to lock down someone? I'm not sure, because I think you need more numbers. I think the game's bigger than Lockie Neal right now.
Yeah, it's part of the art of coaching, and the head scratcher for Sam Mitchell at the moment. Warple came cruising through the stoppage. He left it behind. It's bashed forward out of there, and Dunkley hacks it on in the middle of the ground. Barris rolls in at centre half back, took it at ground level, got it away through Battle and Sicily, and now McGuinness to the dash of Weddle down the broadcast side. He's momentarily halted, loops the handball out in front of McGuinness, who paddles it to himself, regains as he runs past the members, kicks inside the 50 to Ward Watson, who's cruising out the back of the contest. Lester lays on top of Hardwick, terrific tackle. And a ball up 30 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. City end, Lions by 23, 12 gone, second term. Here's Quentin Hull.
He's Joel Peterson, Kez Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts. Stoppage. And no clearance here as Ward tackles Neal. They'll try once more. Hawks deep in attack. Ward roves the tap of Meek. Has a snap. Can't curl it enough. Left footer from about 30. Needed a bit more bend. Left it out to the left. It's a point. Lions by 22 at 10-4, 64 to 6-6, 42. 12 and a half third term.
Brought back into play by Zorko. Long kick toward the broadcast side. Bounces through the pack. Warple chases it down. Berry wants deliberate. He won't get it. Efficient intent.
Chad, you're buying there.
I mean, I had a very good view of that compared to the umpire. He tackled straight out of bounds, so very lucky there.
The aerial camera with Chad Wingard here in the ABC
everything's
Sport box.
easy up in the box, I tell you that for free. It's much harder down there.
Ball tossed back in. Newcombe away from the stoppage. Handball to McDonald, who's got 3 already. Shoved off it by Zorko, who's onto it in a flash. Spirals one up the middle for Brisbane. It beats Archie. It beats Sicily. It beat Hipwood. Morris is there. 30 out for the Brisbane goal. It rumbles back to Hipwood. Handball to Archie. Open goal. He kills it home. That's 3 for Kel Archie. And Brisbane go end to end in a flash. And their forwards make something out of very little. 11-4-70 to Hawthorn, 6-6-42. 14 gone, third term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Oh, we just see another small forward goal, but Zorko again off the half back line. I don't want to pile on Sicily, but goodness me, it's a terrible matchup that he's got with Archie at the moment. He was able to win the one-on-one aerial contest a couple of minutes beforehand, but as soon as the ball hits the ground, Archie just ran straight past him. And Sicily, unfortunately, in that occasion, he was heading back towards goal, and Archie hung around where the ball hit the ground and just easy as you like, clean snap. So I'd love to see Sicily get more body on around the contest there.
Poppy on the boundary.
Yeah, Charlie Cameron celebrated that on the bench like he'd kicked it himself. He was so pumped.
Stoppage at the centre bounce, and there's a whistle here. Free kick's going Brisbane's way. Didn't quite pick up what it was for, but it's the older brother, Norm Ashcroft. Oh, sorry, Will. Norm Smith medalist Will Ashcroft kicks inside 50. Archie again presents can't mark. Late arriving spoil from Sicily. He got him there, Kez. Hawks win the crumb. Ginnivan at right half back D50. Kicks towards the Mwemba's wing. Gunston takes the grab in front of Payne. Kicks in field. Marks by Moore. Hand pass to the running Morrison. Kick to attacking 50s. A shocker. Read easily by Andrews. And the Brisbane co-captain marks at centre half back.
Chip short to Wilmot. Back point of the square. Equal game high lead of 28 for Brisbane. 7 goals straight in that second term. They chip it around defensively. Andrews, Levi Ashcroft. From the numbers of the defensive 50. Out wide to Dunkley. The best player without the ball in the competition, according to his coach. Comes back to Fletcher, who's had a terrific year for the Lions. And back to Andrews as they continue to build it up patiently. And now with some precision. Cameron in the centre of the ground. He goes back behind the mark. Hawthorn are trying to take the speed out of the game at the moment. Charlie will go into the middle. It just gets through the outstretched arms of Answorth and Weddle's away with it. 65 metres out. Goal at his mercy, and Payne rushes back to mark right at the top of the goal square. An outlet to Levi Ashcroft.
He can take a bounce to defensive 50. Kick Brisbane out of danger. Over the head of Dunkley on the wing. Amon's out the back. Marks for Hawthorn. Kicks it back into attack, and Charles in space. And Big Marbior takes the mark right on the boundary. 40 out, doesn't go for goal. Kicks it to Ginnivan, who marks right along that boundary line. He's 20 metre closer to goal. He's hard in the pocket. And Jack Ginnivan needs to call on all of his much vaunted skill here to try and keep the Hawks within arm's reach. 17 minutes, third term. Brisbane by 28 points. Ginnivan hard on the boundary in the left forward pocket. 2 steps infield, right foot snap. He's got it. Not done yet, the Hawks. Just when the danger signs are there, they find a goal in this third term to keep in it. 22 the lead to Brisbane at 11-4-70 to 7-6-48. That's Jack Ginnivan's first goal of the day.
Yes, and it was back off the turnovers, and I think that's what Hawthorn haven't had to generate this so far. And you think about Brisbane, they've got all their turnovers from their D50 and getting all the way into their forward 50. But on that occasion, a very few occasions that's happened today, is Brisbane's turned it over and not been able to defend it. And that's, you've got to make him pay. And 2 marks inside forward 50 in a row. So Chol, knowing that he's about 40, or probably closer to 50 metres out on the toughest angle right near the junction, just has another kick for Ginnivan. Gives him a better shot on goal. Yeah. So that's a sacrifice and a selfish act.
He ran straight past Hipwood too to allow that to happen. He just ran straight into the pocket, had no one following him, and pretty easy uncontested mark in the pocket.
So the Hawks answer back, goal for goal in this third term. Levi Ashcroft, handball away. In fact, it was Will Ashcroft who handballed away to Lohman from the stoppage. Bounced the kick to Cameron, 55 from home. Darts it infield to Archie, who kicked one from a similar spot earlier in the term. This time cut off by Hardwick. Handball to Sicily, to D'Ambrosio, who punches a kick outside the defensive arc. Off hands, it's slapped back toward Newcomb. Now Moore down low. Newcomb at left half back for Hawthorn. Handball out wide. Ginnivan was towing the paint, and the handball missed him, slipped out of play. And underneath the Shane Warne stand, it'll be tossed back in. Brisbane by 22, 18 and a half gone, third term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. 2 games later tonight, depending on where you're listening. North Melbourne and Collingwood. Or Welliam up in Yardabalti, you'll get it all on the ABC Listen app.
Yep, you can choose between the AFL or AFL extra button for those 2 games. Boundary throw in, Brisbane clearance out the back of the stoppage. It's Fletcher from the wing, kicking inside 50. Sicily marks, Morris went to ground. Fair play. Mark to the Hawthorn captain, plays on. Ward receives the mark at centre half back, hands it to Amon. Chip to the middle of the ground, set more. Ratarski couldn't mark it. Rode by Wilmot of Brisbane. Hand passes to Will Ashcroft, gives it to his brother. Levi receives the hand pass, hands it on to Lester. Chip to attacking 50. Lohman takes the grab. He's 50 from goal. We're still waiting for this first goal of the year for Kai Lohman, having been a star here on grand final day. And with nothing happening really in front of him, he might take his moment here. 4 goals in the grand final, no goals so far in 2025. Kai Lohman, high, it won't have the journey. Battle marks in the goal mouth for Hawthorn. And he's in the last line of defence on the Torres Strait Islander flag.
Craft out of here. It's it to Ward by foot to Amon, who's so creative, ball in hand, sends it wide. Morrison had to sit under it for an eternity and pulled it in front of Answorth, who's hurt the shoulder. Both of them strapped. That's the left one that he's pulled up with. Morrison's kick to Moore's a good one in front of the Brisbane interchange. Handball infield to the run of Morrison, who's come off half back. Kick to the front point of the square now for Newcomb. He's got a man inside 50 in Ginnivan. Goes deeper than that. Lions are well set. Chol at the back. Payne at the front of it all. He has been a pain back there as far as the Hawthorn forwards are concerned. Takes the mark, outlets to Dunkley. And now Levi Ashcroft's got it at half back for the Lions.
So Answorth to the bench, and it was a shoulder issue that ruined the middle of his year. He did come back, of course, at the back end of the season, a couple of games in the VFL and played in the finals campaign, so that'll be a concern for Brisbane. And they lead the game by 22 points. Kick goes to the members' wing. Ball rolls in front of Harris Andrews. Gets the booze. That kick's not 15. Doesn't matter. Berry receives and plays on. He kicks the attacking 50 for the Lions. 2-on-2. Off knuckles out the back. Ball rolling towards the boundary line. Oh, Gardner keeps it in. Hands it to Lohman. Lohman's kick is semi-smothered. It goes through for a point anyway. 23 the lead to the Lions at 11-5, 71 to 7-6, 48. Poppy on the boundary.
Noah Answorth's just run straight back onto the ground, so he's going to test out that shoulder.
Good sign, Poppy, thank you. Hawks bring it into centre half back. Barris to Moore. Oh, look at the pickup from the big man, Lloyd Meek. Superb at his bootlaces, then the handball was rubbish. Cut off by Fletcher. Got it away to Dunkley. He did all the hard work, Lloyd Meek. A man from Minnanira down the line. Bouncing ball. Gee, it made it really awkward for Moore. He left it behind. Now Levi Ashcroft. Handball with Gardner. Back to Ashcroft. Out wide to Lohman. Right half forward. Standing start. Kicks to the pocket. Made it difficult for Cameron. An awful assignment. Sicily intercepts with ease and brings the Hawks out to Morrison. And now the run of Hardwick.
Kicks it to the wing and Warple's there to take the mark. Warple just defensive side of the members' wing. Short pass to the presenting Watson. He's a long way from home, the small forward. True centre wing in front of the MCC members. 22 third term, 23 the lead to the Lions. Kick infield marked by Scrimshaw. Hands it to Sicily. Switches to the edge of the centre square. Kick is marked by D'Ambrosio. Plays on with a hand pass to Amon. Now on the southern wing. Kicks to left half forward. Meek marks. Plays on quickly. Chips to Ginnivan. Marks 55 out. Kicks inside 50 to Gunston. There's some decent ball movement, Chad. Gunston the mark 45 out.
Yeah, exactly right. And again, it's coming from changing angles, going all the way across from one side to the other. And it's been an interesting move. We've got Blake Hardwick now in defence. We know when he can shift from forward to back, but Sam Mitchell loves this guy, loves him in the back line because he is like another coach in the defensive. You can see him pointing every direction, getting everyone set. So Gunston lines up now, but a big move putting Dimmer back in the back 50.
23 the lead to the Lions. Gunston from 45, near side. It's a miss. He's kicked a couple of behinds today, Jack Gunston. Brisbane 11-5-71, Hawthorn 7-7-49.
Just continue to oscillate between 28 and 22 points, the margin. Joel Peterson, Quentin Hull, Chad Wingard, Kieran Peterson and Poppy Penny with you on ABC Sport. Lions bring it out to Wilmot, back to Zorko, who inside the defensive 50 has kicked it out of bounds on the full.
It's a third clanger today for the Zork.
So he was trying to get it to the pocket for Fletcher. It came off the side of the boot, out of bounds on the full, and Gunston will have a 30-metre shot from the left forward pocket. Having just missed the set shot, he's a man you do not need to give too many chances to, and he's flared his kick across the face of goal and just snuck it in for a minor score. So that margin dips down to 21 at the 24-minute mark of the third.
Long exit. Ambitious. Leicester's got two against him. D'Ambrosio and Moore combined to win the ball for the Hawks. Moore with a hand pass backwards to Sicily on the wing. Chips to Warple. Marks at 70 out left half forward. Hands to Ward. Hand pass intercepted by Neal on centre half back. And now the Lions can slingshot. Oh, Neal chipped it to Cameron, and Cameron said, nah, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, says Charlie. Doesn't kick upfield. Kicks it across the centre square. Berry marks and kicks wide to Gardner. And Darcy Gardner takes the grab. Looks like he's starting to get back into his footy off the back of an ACL, Darcy Gardner. And the question was going to be, well, where is he going to play his football? That back six sort of had been solidified. Now pinch hitting down forward. He chips to Hipwood. Hipwood kicks to half forward. Berry the target. Can't take the mark. Locked up behind him as Lohman applies a tackle on... Get the glasses up. Yeah, it is Hardwick there. Ball up in the left forward pocket for the Lions.
Up it goes. Meek slaps it down for the Hawks. Newcomb's camped over the top of it. Morris pulls it out for Brisbane. It's dragged in underneath him. Ball just continues to rumble into that forward pocket. Aim on. Handball up. Meek spins his way through. Again, the handball was rubbish. Stop handballing it, Lloyd. And then Answorth goes crashing into Ginnivan and gives away a free. And Jack's on for some afters. Ever the agitator, Jack Ginnivan takes the free kick 45 metres out from his defensive goal. Lions by 21.
Contest just needs a goal or two from the Hawks before three-quarter time.
And you wouldn't rule it out the way they play.
Yeah, 21 the lead to Brisbane. Lions just holding them at arm's length at the moment. Weddle flies in a big pack on the wing to take a great mark. He gets up and decides to run away. No one was on the mark. Takes a bounce. Takes a second. He's in number 23 for Hawthorn. Bouncing along the wing. Kicks on goal. Not the Buddy finish though. Buddy L. Jack Payne got in the way and ruined it.
Would have been something. Gee, it would have been something. He might do it in a
There were visions there for a moment there, Joel.
Might be a very different vision in some ways, Q, but it is very similar in others. Lions come back the other way, down the outer side wing, bouncing ball. Lohman picks it up. Here's Brisbane's 23. Cameron's seen across the line. It'll be tossed in.
He was going the opposite way to Lance on that famous night. Lance was going to the punt road end, Weddle was going to the city end, but it was member side.
Underneath the Shane Warne stand, it'll be thrown back in. Josh Weddle's kicked big goals from out there before. One against Carlton last year was something very special. 21-point Lions lead, closing in on three-quarter time here at the MCG. McCluggage at the stoppage, hooks it around his body, high inside the 50. Jaff up with it and taking the mark. He's found his best in recent weeks. Has CJ. He's going to whip it across the defensive 50 to the late inclusion and the substitute activated at half-time in McGuinness. He comes to battle, and now to McDonald on the AFL logo.
McGuinness running off half-back, receives the hand pass, kicks into attack, and Weddle's favoured by the kick. Good spoil, Leicester, but Weddle roves, breaks two tackles. His hand pass, though, can't get to Morrison. Fletcher comes in at the time of need for the Lions and runs it out of play. Brisbane lead by 21 points, but I just get the sense, Chad Wingard, Kieran Peterson, the Hawks starting to make a little move.
Yeah, they're motoring, aren't they? They've worked out the method. They must change sides, open up the angle, ideally come back through the middle of the ground and go forward.
Sam Mitchell smashed the signage in the box after the Weddle miss. He's right on the edge of his seat at the moment, as you would expect. Crunching tackle from Newcombe on Berry. Two tough customers. And Jared Berry is awarded the free kick.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that's almost close. That's a two-action tackle. He's almost picked him up and thrown him down. He didn't land on his head, but the two-action tackle is always dangerous when it comes to MRO. He did get straight back up, but obviously Brisbane weren't happy with it and got straight up to him.
It's a good shout. The second reaction is what they look for. And the ball is in the hands of Lachie Neale as the halftime siren rings out. It was Brisbane by 23 at the half. 4 goals in total in that second term, and it was goal for goal. Brisbane kicked the first to have their 5th in a row. Hawthorn able to peg a couple back. And it's 3.5 kicks the spread as we turn for home. Brisbane 11-5-71. Hawthorn 7-8-50. The Hawks, if good enough, still very much close enough. 3 goals for Connor McDonald all came in the first half. Goals in that quarter to Nash and to Ginnivan for Hawthorn. Singles also to Hardwick and to Weddle, both of those coming in the first term. For Brisbane, Kalachi kicked his 3rd in that quarter. Charlie Cameron's got 3. Logan Morris has got 2. The first 2 goals of the game for the Lions. Singles to Levi Ashcroft, to Cam Rayner and Zach Bailey.
Good on you, Joel. So it's the Lions by 21 points at three-quarter time. The first of 2 games in the National Rugby League for today is underway. And the reigning premiers Penrith are hosting the Newcastle Knights just before halftime. The Knights lead the Panthers 24-0. Call available on the green button on the ABC Listen app. Roosters Sharks to come after that. We've also got 2 games coming up this evening in the AFL. In a moment we'll get a preview of the Kangas and the Pies, but here at three-quarter time it's Brisbane by 21 points. It's Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
To get started with the ABC Listen app, find the App Store on your phone. Search for ABC Listen, tap the pink ABC Listen icon and download it. Congratulations, now you've got ABC Radio in your pocket.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Bailey, who marks in the centre circles. Offload hand pass to Fletcher. And now to the run of Rayner, who bursts to 52, eyes the sticks and drills a brilliant goal.
Chance to go back into attack. Short kick from Sicily is a good one. It basically chipped it over the man on the mark, just the required 15. Nash marks on 50. So the Hawks need this goal to stop this run of 5 for Brisbane. Connor Nash, after a month on the sidelines, he owes his team some and bangs a big goal.
Shoved off it by Zorko, who's onto it in a flash. Spirals one up the middle for Brisbane. It beats Archie. It beats Sicily. It beat Hipwood. Morris is there. 30 out for the Brisbane goal. It rumbles back to Hipwood. Handball to Archie. Open goal. He kills at home. That's 3 for Kel Archie.
Jack Ginnivan to try and keep the Hawks within arm's reach. Brisbane by 28 points. Ginnivan hard on the boundary in the left forward pocket. 2 steps infield, right foot snap. He's got it.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Giants by 28 over the Blues earlier today. Three-quarter time at the G. It's Brisbane by 21 over Hawthorn. My name's Quentin Hull. Hoping you're enjoying your day at the footy. Couple of games to come tonight if you're with us on local radio in WA and South Australia. It is the Dockers taking on the Power in Perth. Call also available on the ABC Listen app. Meanwhile, they're doubling up at Docklands. Clinchy, is everything clean and ready to go for Game 2 out there?
It appears to be, Quentin. I'm looking at the very top to try and work out whether Loot Ball was right, whether any fans were able to stay from the earlier match early in the day for the night. But it's Collingwood and North Melbourne. How will the Kangaroos go up against the Black and White Test after their best fortnight of the season for North Melbourne? A draw against the Brisbane Lions down in Tasmania, and then a breakthrough win against the Tigers, their second of the season. Well, for Collingwood, there is a bit of breaking news. Bobby Hill is a late out for tonight's clash, so no doubt he'll be disappointed to not feature in Sir Doug Nicholls' round. And Olive Markov comes into the squad, so he wasn't initially a part of the emergency, so there might be a little fine there coming for Collingwood as well. The Magpies looking to extend their spot on the top of the AFL ladder and chasing a 3rd straight victory on the bounce. So looking forward to bringing it to you tonight alongside Lauren Borden, Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, the North Melbourne champion, so watching his former side alongside Lex Pesce on the boundary. North Melbourne and Collingwood to follow you, Q.
Good on you, Clinchy. And another shout out to everyone working at Docklands today to ensure they've turned the stadium around after the Giants win over the Blues earlier today.
And of course, with the roof, Q, you don't have the natural advantage you do here at the MCG. If there's a few stray chips lying around, you just let the seagulls do their thing. Can't do that across town.
It's like goats and lawnmowers. But yeah, you're right. They don't have that advantage at Docklands. Lions by 21, Kes Peterson, Chad Wingard. Did you sense it, Chad? I'll start with you. It seemed Hawthorn just got a little bit back on their terms. Is a final quarter surge on the cards here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Sammy Mitchell is telling them that he needs it from this group. What happened then for Hawthorn? I thought they started to play on from their marks a little bit better. They started to take the game on more, run, use their legs, change the angles. They played the Hawthorn brand of ball movement. Yes, they still missed a few kicks, but it wasn't slow, stagnant, kick down the line. They just looked a little bit better. And I hope that this quarter, if you're a Hawthorn fan, that you just take it on again. That whether that's trying to break a tackle, but mark play on, handball receives, that's how you get out the back and give your forwards the best opportunity. Because at the moment, their forwards are they're not winning the battles. Gunston, yes, he's had 3 shots, but he's had no goals. You had Watson, who's only got 3 touches. Ginnivan, who can't get near it. So you need your midfielders or someone to help you out to try and get the ball movement. And so you can actually start looking up and actually get some marks inside forward 50. Because you have to put on a score here. You have to put on a big score. So you have to play on, take some risks. Because if you don't, you might be competitive, but you're not going to win this game.
And the last time, Kez, they were asked this question at this ground, they absolutely blew the Demons out of the water in the final quarter. So it was only 1 point the difference on that day. They're coming from further back today, the Hawks.
Yeah, they are. And I agree with everything Chad said. And the one thing that really let Hawthorn down in that third term was their goal accuracy. They kicked 2 goals, 4. That's 4 goals, 2. We're looking at a different ball game coming into this fourth term. So the one thing that I'm sure the Hawks would be well aware of is Brisbane's fade-outs in the last 2 games in the last term. It absolutely would be something that Brisbane would have talked about as well, and I'm sure they've got a plan going into it. But if there's anything I know about this Hawthorn team, it's that they will absolutely believe that they can get a run on in this fourth term and see if they can get over the top.
Neil's up to 27 possessions for Brisbane. Zorko has 26. A couple of clangers, though, there, Joel. 22 for Morrison, 21 for Amon. They lead all comers for the Hawks. Let's play final term footy here. Brisbane go into it with a 21-point lead.
They led by 14 last week, lost by 11, the Lions. Can they hang on here in the last? Immediately we're dragged back to a stoppage as Neil and Nash get tied up. 4 and 6 so far in final quarters this season, Brisbane. 14th in the competition. It has not been a strength. They pull through here at the end. Free kick from the contest going the way of Dunkley. Hands it off to Berry for the Lions. Kicks a flat footy inside the 50. It gets out the back. Rayner will run into the goal. He stretches out past Sicily and bangs it to the top of the city end. A couple for Cam Rayner in this second half. And that is a start that Chris Fagan and the Brisbane Lions could hardly have dreamt of to this final term. A goal within 30 seconds puts their lead back to 27.
And that's just great body work by Rayner there. He's put his guy, I think it was Barrett, who's one of the best and strongest defenders there is, but he just bodied him up and nudged him at the right time. Not enough to give away a free kick. Didn't use his arms, used his forearm to protect the drop zone, and then just ran back on it. I counted his steps on the replay. He took 17 steps, so he's very lucky. If that wasn't in the goal square, that was going to be called travelling or too many steps. But great finish, great start for Brisbane, but my God, that's against a quality opposition. That's a great holding your ground for a forward and great forward craft.
27 points the lead for Brisbane. Centre bounce. Meek beats Fort, but taps it only to McCluggage. Clearance Brisbane again. Marked by Morris as well. Rush kick from McCluggage, marked on 50 by Morris. Kicks it down Rayner's throat. Brilliant slicing entry. Again, right down the corridor and leading out. The number 16 on his back, it almost could have been Jay Brown-like, the way that Rayner led to that and clutched the share into his chest. And this might be game over. If you go bang-bang at the start of the last quarter, it'll be out to 33 points. Now, the Hawks are good, but could they do it against the reigning champs? Gee, you sense it's a pretty big kick for Cam Rayner. And the Lions, we're only 2 minutes into the final term. This to push it beyond 5 goals. Rayner on his right. He's fluffed his lines badly there. You could tell in the approach. Didn't really run into it. Hooked it left. Just mark that little asterisk. That could have been 33 points. It's only 28. Bad miss from Rayner.
Yeah, no penetration in the kick whatsoever. almost chipped it like a 9-iron.
And missed the green. Hamon brings it in for the Hawks. Members side, reaching across is Newcomb, who slaps it down, and it goes out for a throw-in.
The alarm bells for Hawthorn will be, though, the first 2 centre bounce clearances of the 4th term. Really far too easy for Brisbane. It's a parade out of the middle of the ground inside their forward 50.
They got smacked in that third quarter from clearance as well, 10-4. Hawthorn, Brisbane having the ascendancy in that part of the game, and another clearance potentially here. Berry ran into Nash, though. Ball got stuck under the Irishman. Comes out through Newcomb and D'Ambrosio. Curls his kick up the wing. Ginnivan and Zorko holding on to one another. Umpire said Dane was doing more of it. So a free kick for Jack Ginnivan right on halfway. Off the instep, it floats up toward half forward. Dunkley dives on top of it. Bump ball. Gets the handball away to D'Ambrosio of Hawthorn. Infield hand pass from Chol. Lightning stuff from Warple to Newcomb, who can't get the arm free. Neil latched onto him. He got it back to Amon, who kicks inside the 50 and finds Chol. They made hard work of that, Hawthorn. But any time the ball's in Carl Amon's hands, it's a good thing. And he spots up Mabior Chol, who'll have a 45-degree kick, tight angle left of centre, and we are right behind it.
I tell you what, Lockie Neal had a vice grip on John Newcomb's hand. That's the hardest tackle to do. He grabbed his hand so he couldn't handball, but he just ripped it back and gave it to Carl. And then obviously Carl Amon just beautiful kick aside forward 50. But Chol here is tough angle, 45 out.
He kicked a ripper last week to pull them close against the Suns in the last quarter, Mabior Chol. Can he kick an important goal here? He starts at left and it stays there, narrowly missing to the near side. Margin back to 27 the way of Brisbane. Foregone final term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
And Darcy Wilmot entrusted with the kick-in duties. It's a very short inbound. Marked by Zorko, uncontested left back pocket. Plays on, kicks to Cameron, or fails to mark it. Left half back under pressure from Morrison. Morrison wins the crumb. Hand passes infield to Ginnivan. Ginnivan kicks across the half-forward line. Jath marks it. 55 out. Almost true centre half forward, and he goes back and takes a moment. Very cluttered forward 50 in front of him, but he's looking like a man who's going the journey here.
Well, he missed a couple of leads. Connor McDonald was streaming into space while CJ was going backwards, so must be confident.
Man on the marks on 50. This would be a team lifter for the Hawks. Jath from 52. It's got the journey. He's pumped it, but left. Misses the major opening. A minor score. Lions by 26 at 12-6-78 to 7-10, 52.
Meant business there. Mouthguard went straight into the sock as he walked back. Zorko into Berry for Brisbane. He backs up behind the mark. Kick's going to go down the line on the broadcast side. Is there a fly? Sicily comes over the top, tries to lash it back toward Hawthorn's attacking 50. Wilmot read it beautifully off the pack. Handball to Zorko, who's peeling off half back and turns it over to Morrison. It was an aggressive kick and it didn't hit the mark. Morrison handball to Battle, who floats it inside the forward 50. Chol the target. Andrews in the wrestle. Out the back is Berry. His handball lightning. Left behind by Answorth. And then McDonald kicked it into Chol's head. He straight up falconed him at close range. Clearing kick not cleared away. Now there's a free kick. Ashcroft will be awarded it. Levi Ashcroft. That was a close range falcon and 50 for the play onto advantage.
What just happened in the last 15 seconds? My goodness.
Was frenetic.
That was a circus. I mean, it would have been a goal. Charles' big head, he just blocked the shot. Geez, that would have been something special.
So Levi Ashcroft's been marched to the middle of the MCG. Kicks it to his brother out in the southern wing. And Will takes the grab before the late arriving pressure of Battle. Will Ashcroft just forward of the wing. Kicks defensively to his great mate Fletcher. A couple of the father-sons. The Piglet's got it. Jasper Fletcher now kicks towards half forward. Sicily's in front, went beyond him. Ricochets off the pack. Close to the boundary line. Morrison tries to keep it in but can't. Boundary throw in. Left half forward for Brisbane.
Hawthorn are going to make a run here. They've got to eat into this quickly. Definitely need to get the next goal and probably the one after to make a real game of this.
26 points of the lead to Brisbane. 7 minutes eaten up in this final term.
Lions have had it out by as many as 28 on a number of occasions. Stoppage win for the Lions. Rayner's kick tumbled inside the forward 50. Sicily led Archie to it, then just dropped it away and didn't get rid of it correctly, holding the ball. He was lying on the ground. He just let it tumble out the side. And the umpire said he did not try and get rid of it correctly. And now he's going to get 50 for the lip. So from a potential position to strike, James Sicily, the captain, gives away 50 from close range. Callum Archie will be waltzed to the goal line. He takes a moment and takes a big deep breath. Archie puts through his fourth. Brisbane has a game-high 32-point lead. And you can chalk that one up to the opposition captain. 13-6, 84 the Lions. The Hawks 7-10, 52. 8.5 gone. Final quarter. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
And Sicily's an emotional player, and you live and die by the sword. But talking about that incident, I'm actually confused as he is, because he's got his arm pinned and he's getting tackled to the ground. If he holds, I actually as a player don't know, do you hold that in or not? Because I thought if you let it try and get it out, I know he didn't correct it, but it was on the ground. So if he holds that in, it's holding the ball, and if he gets rid of it, it's holding the ball. But he's got his arm pinned, so I don't know what he can do there.
Well, he's got to kick it.
But he can't. He's on the ground and he's face down, arm pinned.
So you award the tackler the good tackle, right?
Yeah, but I reckon it's just a hard one, because I've seen guys get called holding the ball if you hold it in.
Yep. No clearance from the centre bounce. Kez, what did you think?
Well, I had the umpires come and talk to us the other day, and I'm still unclear, to be honest, Q. So, yeah, your take on it is probably as good as mine.
Warple underneath the stoppage from the centre. Kicks Hawthorn into attack. It kicked off the deck by the Lions defence. Back to Warple in the middle of the ground. Couldn't pick it up, but Newcombe does. Hands it to Ward. Ward to Ginnivan. Needs it. 40 out. Ginnivan's kick. It bounces to the left. Gee, he didn't have the journey to get it on the fly, but it bounced over the two men in the goal square, but it's a point. Lions by 31. Quick inbound, Zorko in the left back pocket.
Comes to Levi Ashcroft. He looks back across the face of goal toward the broadcast side. Leicester's at the top of the defensive goal square with the Torres Strait Islander flag painted within it. Now Bailey and Dunkley work it out methodically. The Lions, number one kicking and marking team in the competition, showing their wares at the moment. Berry and Archie all in controlled fashion by foot. Archie with 4 goals. He's held up in front of the interchange. Now he's called to go. Thought about trying to get around Jaff and kicks down the line. Barris comes across to spike it forward. Berry did his best to advance some territory for the Lions, and it's out underneath the members' stand. Lions by 31 points. 13-6 plays 7-11. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. 2 games coming your way tonight, depending on where you're listening. North Melbourne and Collingwood, or Walyalup and Yardabalti in a big night of footy.
Here's Joel Peterson. I'm Quentin Hull. Kez Peterson and Chad Wingard, your experts. Poppy Penny's on the boundary. Brisbane leading by 31 points. Ward roves the stoppage for the Hawks. Hands it to McGuinness, gives to Warple. Under pressure. Warple drops it. He's harassed. He reels it in. He's gone. Holding the ball. Jared Berry would not give him a breath there. And Berry gets the free kick on the edge of the centre square, centre wing. Kicks in field, not a good kick. Looking for Leicester, spoiled away by McDonald. Chance for the Hawks here. Picked up by Watson in the middle of the ground. His hand pass is turned over. Stolen by Zorko of Brisbane. Hands to Wilmot. Hands to Will Ashcroft. Runs to 60. Slots it to Rayner. And Rayner once again presenting. Takes a chest mark, leading right down the corridor of the attacking 50. He mucked up the last one. A chance to atone here. Similar kick. 35 out.
It's just so impressive how much separation he gets on his defender. I wasn't quick enough to look at his bodywork, but I'm imagining that he's put a body or a hand or something in the path of his opponent and pushed off to create that level of separation. Such a strong leading forward.
So he's already kicked 1-1 this term. Rayner to make the margin, 37 points. He's missed that one as well. Previous was to the left. That one missed right. Could have put him to the sword, Cam Rayner, but no. 32 points the lead to Brisbane at 85 to 53. He should have kicked both of those too, right in front.
Player of his class, you'd expect him to. Equal high watermark in the game. Scrimshaw brings it back in. Long kick through the hands of Newcombe. Hipwood there to provide the contest. Picked up by Ginnivan of the Hawks. AFL logo broadcast side. Wilmort up and down the mine shaft to right half forward. Archie in the air. He went early, brought it in the second grab. Fabulous anticipation from Cal Archie. Right half forward, kick and a half from home. Centrally for Leicester. They're lining up in the middle of the ground here, the Lions. Leicester goes defensively behind the centre circles to Andrews. Now they're going to have to manufacture something. Out wider still to the southern side of the ground for Fletcher. Answorth. Thought about going. Now he goes. He tees it up inside the forward 50. Needs a fly. Got one from Morris. Ball out the back. Warple's there. Dragged down. Rayner bustling through. Hands off to Will Ashcroft. Around the body. And Will Ashcroft celebrates in style. A goal that puts Brisbane up 38 points. And surely has sealed this one for the reigning premiers. 14-7-91 to the Hawks, 7-11-53, 13 and a half gone, final term on ABC Sport. That is a very big moment.
And the crowds come in at 57,919. 57,919.
Considerably the biggest crowd between these two sides in history. They hadn't had a crowd before more than 39,000 before today.
And some of them, Joel, in brown and gold are in the aisles. They've seen enough. Interesting. 14 minutes into the last term. Number of fans at the Punt Road end getting out of there. So, a bit of a Lions chant at the MCG. Centre bounce. Warple roves the tap of the ruckman. Kicks high towards half forward for Hawthorn. Andrews in front of the bouncing ball. Gathers it. Gathered by Chol immediately. No prior. Ball up. Poppy on the boundary.
Yeah, loads of Hawthorn fans are heading out of the ground at the moment. You're not wrong. And the Lions chant is absolutely up and about. Lions fans are much happier at the moment.
Ball up, 40 from Brisbane's goal. Neil wins the stoppage. In fact, 40 from Hawthorn's goal. Clearing defensive from defensive 50. Neil kicks to the wing. Barris meets the ball. Can't control it before the boundary line. Out of play for a throw in. And I was just really interested to listen to Chris Fagan's press conference after their final quarter capitulation to the Demons. He was ready to lay down the law to them. I think he gave them a bit of a mulligan in Hobart, but did not like what he saw last quarter at the Gabba against the D's. And this is the response that his team's given today.
Dominated the stoppage game, dominated the transition game, the Lions. Dominated the second half. Again, they waltz away with it. Levi Ashcroft from the stoppage, inside forward 50. Sicily sits under it. Takes the mark. Floats the kick across to defensive 50 to McGuinness. Sees a long, searching presentation from Weddle and honours it. Defensive side of the southern wing. 38 points is the Brisbane lead. Having lost their past 5 to Hawthorn. Sam Mitchell having never been bested by a Brisbane team. Long kick up the line from Weddle. And Answorth's across to cut it off. Had a bit of a scare with that shoulder earlier in the game, but came straight back onto the ground and he's acquitted himself nicely thereafter. Answorth kicks Brisbane back the other way. Hipwood a fly. Out the back is Amon. Carves his kick into the middle of the ground. It's a good one. He finds Ginnivan in front of the centre circles.
Got an open 50 in front of him. Kick is a good one on D'Ambrosio's head. Leicester arrives to spoil, but the bounce is favourable for D'Ambrosio. Leicester harasses him again. D'Ambrosio tries to reel it in. Leicester knocks it away from him. Great battle. Froggy wins the day. Andrews picks up for Brisbane. Hand pass to half back. Berry's able to run and bounce his way from defence towards the wing. Chips to Cameron. And Cameron, who's done nothing but 4 minutes of brilliance today, where he kicked 3 goals. He takes the mark, Charlie, on halfway. Kicks it to Gardner on the edge of the centre square.
Certainly lit the touch paper, that's for sure.
Gardner kicks across the ground to the bullseye. Wilmot there to mark. Plays on with a chip to Fletcher. It's just beyond his head. McGuinness arrives to apply the pressure and whacked him over the head. Free kick to Jasper Fletcher. Wasn't a nasty one, just a glancing blow. Fletcher kicks to McCluggage in the pocket. He takes the mark. And he's hurt Hugh McCluggage. Hugh McCluggage, is he going to get up here? Yeah, I think he's just winded.
Yeah, he came down pretty hard on that right hip. Just had his arms kind of chopped in the marking contest and threw him off balance. Wasn't able to regain it, straight down on that right hip. That's the stinger.
That'll be fun on the plane home tomorrow.
I tell you what, I feel much better with the win, I can guarantee you that.
It's true.
He leads the ABC Sport Player of the Year, Hugh McCluggage. So often a regular in the top 3 or 4 in the Brisbane Best and Fairest, but he's never won it. So often in the All-Australian squad, he's never made it. McCluggage misses here near side. And that's a behind Brisbane by 39. Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Yeah, Brisbane have just made their sub as well. Logan Morris comes off and Dev Robertson is getting set to come on.
Well, yeah, Morris could have been set for anything after he kicked the first 2 of the game and ends up being subbed out in the final quarter. Margin 39 the way of the Lions. Mainline brings it in. McDonald, kick up the middle's a good one. Finds Newcomb. Newcomb whips a kick inside forward 50 on the right boot. End-to-end stuff. Here is Moore. He eyes the sticks and salutes. Hawthorn go end-to-end for the first time all day. The second best in the competition at scoring from that source. They haven't seen it. And finally, they get a goal from a kick-in to narrow the gap to 33 points. 8-11-59 to Brisbane 14-8-92. 18.5 through the final quarter. Your experts on ABC Sport are Chad Wingard and Kez Peterson.
Yeah, a little too late, wasn't it, Chad? Probably would have liked to have seen that 2 quarters ago, just taking some risk, and even with the finish there, didn't go back off the mark, just played on. But it's a great response, and probably need to give credit to Brisbane because they've been the ones that have sort of stifled Hawthorn's ball movement from the back line really all day. Haven't really seen any of that until just now.
Just the second goal from them from a defensive half chain, the Hawks today.
Well, the G used to stand for graveyard for the Brisbane Lions here at headquarters. Pretty interesting stat that they're about to bring up. Centre bounce, 4 taps down to McCluggage, so McCluggage looks all right. Clearing kick to attacking. 50 and Archie's there again. Leaps high to take the mark. Now we think of this era of the Brisbane Lions and comparing it back to their previous great era of 20 years ago. So the last time that the Lions won 4 in a row at the MCG, these were the four games. 03 grand final, 3-peat, and then a couple of round games in 2004, and then the preliminary in 2004 when they shouldn't have even been playing the preliminary here, as Archie misses to the left. So basically for the first time in 21 years, Brisbane are going to win 4 games in a row at the G. They lead here after that kick by 34 points.
For the first time since round 20, 2004, they're going to beat Hawthorn at the MCG. So long time between drinks on a few fronts for the Lions.
Yeah, that was a part of that sequence.
Yeah, it's Newcomb. Hands it off to Jath and now to Weddle. Ward had Cameron draped all over him. Charlie Cameron working hard inside the defensive 50. He just kept motoring there. Handed it off to Levi Ashcroft. Away to Lester into the centre of the ground for Lohman, who marks low down. Oh, looked like he might have put out a finger as well. He's just shaking that off and trying to get something happening. He's going to run straight to the bench. He's Kai Lohman. So subbed off in 4 of his 5 games so far this year. Of course, had the injury a few weeks ago in that game against Geelong from the heavy bump, and maybe now a right finger issue as Wilmot's got it inside the defensive 50. He's going to stay out there. That's tough stuff.
Did you just see that? The physio just came over to him and said, give it here, pal.
I am no chance.
Pull it back in. Here you go.
I am no chance
away.
of looking within 100 metres of anything like that going on, Chad.
I couldn't take my eyes off.
Hey, Poppy, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. That was absolutely awful to witness.
James Warple had one here the other week too, a pretty gruesome dislocation put back in.
Absolutely not.
I always feel like an old man when I bring up Darren Cresswell at Cardinia Park whacking his knee back in all those years ago. You remember that one?
I've got to eat later, kid.
At a dislocated knee.
Sorry, kids at home.
Yeah, hope you're enjoying
about dinner time, isn't it? Hardwick's at centre half back for Hawthorn. Kicks it out to the southern wing. McDonald takes the mark. That's Connery. Plays on with a kick to Gunston, who has done nothing today, really, Jack Gunston. He's spoiled away by Answorth. So back into the team, Jack Gunston. He has kicked 3 points. And I know he would have been keen to do well today. Didn't sort of go the way he hoped when he went to Brisbane. Played a lot in that 2023 season. Got overlooked in finals and said, screw this, I'm going back to the Hawks if you want me. And he continues to be a great contributor for Hawthorn. But One of his old clubs got the better of him today. Giath's on the wing off the stoppage. His hand pass set a task of Weddle. Couldn't pick up, and McCluggage comes away for Brisbane. 1-on-1 in the forward line. It's Hipwood v Sicily. The kick bounces in front of them. Hipwood picks up. Hand passes to Neil, 60 from goal. Hands it out the back to Dunkley. Kick is semi-smothered. Ricochets, and Weddle picks up. He runs to right half back. Tackled by Neil. Got rid of the handball. Play on. Dev Robertson picks up. First action in 2025. Hands it to Levi Ashcroft. He kicks it to Lohman, who's given away a free kick for a push. Hardwick to get the free kick in the right back pocket.
Bailey in front of him, who went for the aerial assault and couldn't pull it in. First game for Dev Robertson since round 4 of last year. The Lark medalist out of Western Australia 2019. Hawks with the mark in the middle of the ground. McGuinness to Warple. Out wide to Jath on a looping run. Back to Morrison. They just haven't been able to muster any kind of attacking power today, the Hawks. Just the 5 goals since quarter time, having kicked 3 in the first. Nash slips over at centre-half forward. Back to D'Ambrosio. Now to McDonald. Kicks to the pockets. Upstairs, McGuinness can't mark. Ball will stay in. It trickles out toward the left-hand behind post and over for a throw-in. Lions by 34. 93 plays 59. 23 and a half gone final term. Big night of footy coming up on ABC Sport. North Melbourne and Collingwood. Or Walyalup and Yada Balti, your games for broadcast.
Speaking of Collingwood, that's who the Hawks have got next here at the MCG. Brisbane go home for Thursday night footy against Essendon. Watson tries to rove the stoppage in the forward line. Picks up but tackled immediately. So another neutral.
Big months for both of them too, Q. Hawks have got Collingwood, Western Bulldogs and Adelaide. Brisbane have got Essendon, Adelaide, GWS and Geelong.
Meek tries to rove the stoppage in the forward line. He's tackled, Big Lloyd, by Dunkley. Play on. McGuinness tries to chuck it out. Picked up by Lester. Clearing kick for the Lions. Lester tumbles it to the middle of the ground. Battle. Wins the ball. Little toe poker to Warple. He feeds it off to Amon, centre square. Kicks wide to right half forward. Nash takes the grab, right half forward, 60 out. Hands it to Jath. Runs to 52. The loping right foot kick is out of bounds on the full. Near side miss from Jankuth Jath. And no change to the score. It's Brisbane 14-9-93. Hawthorn 8-11-59. And the Brisbane Lions will celebrate Chris Fagan's 200th game in charge with a win at headquarters against a club that he had so much to do with.
Two-time coach of the year. Of course, 4 premierships with the Hawks in the front office and the administration between 2008 and 2016 before getting the phone call to come up to Brisbane. Levi Ashcroft on the southern side to Neil, who's in an acre of space. He's got an absolute eternity to wheel and kick toward half forward. Sicily and Hipwood both left it behind. Sicily's first back there. Defensive hand pass to Amon as the Seagulls scatter. He thumps his kick across the defensive 50. D'Ambrosio marks in stride and chips it short to Gunston.
It is Hitchcock time at the G, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're going everywhere, the bird life. Warple, handball over the top, partially smothered on the way through to Weddle. He kicks inside the forward 50. It's an aggressive and an inventive one to Morrison, who marks 49 from home. Pokes it over the top to McGuinness.
And while he lines up, a bit more news from across town. Scott Pendlebury's not going to be playing tonight. We're just getting word that Pendles is ill. So he's another late change for the Magpies. So Will Parker is coming in. That's after earlier Bobby Hill withdrew with Oleg Markov from outside the emergencies coming into the team. So Hill and now Pendlebury out for the Magpies. Parker and Markov to play.
A couple of big outs. Finn McGuinness with the set shot. Here at the MCG, 45-metre kick, 10 in from the boundary. It's across the face all the way. It's a minor score. And the Lions lead by 33 late in the piece.
Who does it say more about? That's a part of the question we'll get from our experts, Karen Peterson and Chad Wingard. Certainly it's been a very positive response to a couple of ordinary weeks for the Lions, with no disrespect to North Melbourne or Melbourne. But at the G against a fellow contender, this has been excellent from Brisbane. Long kick to the wing. Barras takes the mark, though, here for the Hawks. And Barras back with the inbound inside 50. Gunston's given away a free kick, holding Andrews, who led him to the ball. Harris Andrews, as casual as you like, chips it to Lockie Neal, who will now take disposal 32. Kicks it across the face of goal to Ainsworth. A bit of a scare with his shoulder earlier in the game. He kicks it to Zorko. Ginnivan made him earn it. Zorko marks. So it'll be disposal 33 for Zorko, but he's had a few blunders today. That one's okay. Kicks it across the face of goal. And the Lions are starting to just wind down the clock here. Dev Robertson, the target of the kick on left half back. He can't mark. Out of play off the spoil and a boundary throw in. Full-time siren imminent at the G. The Lions leading by 33 points.
29 kicks of the 33 disposals for Dane Zorko. 996 metres gained. Saw a couple of players get to the 1,000 mark last week. John Noble against the Hawks was one of them. Weddle at the stoppage. Handball clear. D'Ambrosio back into the mess. Picked up by Berry. He's got a couple of Hawks swooping on top of him. And we will have a ball up. Hawks jumped out of the blocks. Kicked 3 goals in a row to win the opening term, led by 4 points. Lions with 7 straight in the second quarter, led by 23 at the half, 21 at three-quarter time. They lead by 33 very late in the piece, as now Ginnivan is caught holding the ball, and McCluggage will take the free kick for the Lions, and he'll be marched forward as well.
50-metre penalty. So you think of Chris Fagan's first 2 years, 2017, 2018, 10 wins in those 2 years, but from 2019 onwards, they have been an ever-present force in the fight for the flag. And it will be a sweet siren shortly for him. A winning game, 200 as coach. Long kick inside 50 from McCluggage. Out the back, Sicily does the roving for Hawthorn. Hand passes to Hardwick. That's the end of the contest. And the Lions have now won 4 games in a row at the MCG for the first time in more than 20 years. Their new glory era replicating their old glory era as Fagan celebrates game 200 in charge with a comprehensive win over the Hawks.
We are the pride of Brisbane town, we wear maroon, blue and gold. We will always fight for victory like Fitzroy and Bears of old. All for one and one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions, we'll kick the winning score. You'll hear a mighty roar. We are the pride of Brisbane town, we wear maroon, blue and gold. We will always fight for victory like Fitzroy and Bears of old. All for one and one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions, we'll kick the winning score. You'll hear a mighty roar. You'll hear a mighty roar.
33 points, the final margin at the MCG in front of 57,919 fans. Brisbane, 14 goals, 993, defeat Hawthorn 8-12-60. So the Lions now 8 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. The Hawks have lost back-to-back games. Their ledger stands at 7-4. And it was really the second quarter where Brisbane took control. Hawthorn led by 4 points at quarter time, but the Lions kicked 7 goals straight to 2 goals 3 in the second quarter to lead by 23 points at half time. It was a 21-point margin at three-quarter time in favour of Brisbane, and the Lions won the final term as well, kicking 3 goals 4 to the Hawks 1-4. All done. Correct weight on 14.993 beats 8.12.60. The Lions by 33. The goal kickers went this way. And in Sir Doug Nicholls' round, his family helped design the jersey, Calamachi. He'll be very happy with 4 goals. He had a good day out last week too. And Charlie Cameron kicked 3 goals basically in the space of about 4 minutes elapsed playing time. Still looks good on the score sheet. 4 for Archie, 3 for Cameron. That was a part of that second quarter surge at the back end of that second term just before half-time. 2 goals for Logan Morris, 2 goals for Cam Rayner, who really should have kicked a couple more, had a bad miss or 2 in the last quarter. Singles for Will Ashcroft, Levi Ashcroft and Zach Bailey. Hawthorn's goal kickers led by Connor McDonald. He kicked all 3 of his in the first half. Singles to Connor Nash, Dylan Moore, Blake Hardwick, Josh Weddle and Jack Ginnivan. You got a thought or two? We'd love to hear from you. 0437 774 774 is the number. Please send us your name and where you're texting from. 0437 774 774. We'll get to the rooms and wrap this up before we send you elsewhere for the 2 games this evening. But Chad Wingard, Kieran Peterson, here to enjoy it with us. Well, enjoy it if you're a Brisbane Lions fan. Not so much from the Hawks' perspective. We'll start with you, Chad. You're chuckling away there.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. It is something I didn't see coming. But for one thing that has been pretty consistent this year is I'm not sold on Hawthorn's midfield. They just lost the clearance battle 41-24. So 17 less clearances. And we talk about James Worpel out of contract this year and whether they're offering him a contract, whether they want to keep him. I know we're missing Will Day, but Nash was back. They're pretty stacked in there. They had 49 hitouts to 30. So they won the hitout battle, but lose the clearance, which means on the deck, they're just not good enough. They're not clean enough. And they're not going to... You can't win too many games, but we can't go deep in finals without your midfield being the engine.
And 15th in the competition, and they lost it by 15 last week as well.
Exactly right. So it's making me nervous if you're a Hawthorn fan thinking booking your tickets in the finals, because you need to make sure that they need to sort it out. Whether you can't change your personnel at this, obviously here in mid-season, but can they change their structures? Can they change their people that are in there? They've got some guys on VFL that could come through. Do they put someone that's a bit quicker in there? I know Dylan Moore spent a little bit of time in there, so that's making me nervous. But if you think about the game, who do you think would have the more inside 50s? Yes, it's Brisbane, but only 2. They only won the inside 50s by 2. So to win by 30 points, or was it 33 points, it just means that the efficiency also going inside forward 50 for Hawthorn is really poor. And you think about, I'm telling Ainsworth today, I've watched him, I've played on him. He's a very good player. He shut down Watson to... I just didn't even see Watson out there. For someone that dominated the first half last week, you think about Connor McDonald's the only forward that really got off the chain for Hawthorn, and everyone else down there just didn't look like they were going to get a sniff. Whether it was Blake Hardwick when he was down there, yes, he kicked a goal. You got Gunston, Chol, even Ginnivan, they just didn't look like they had an impact there. But when you think about you get 50 inside 50s, that's a pretty good number. To only have that -2 to Brisbane, that's something they really need to look into.
Yeah, I'll double down on that. I think the pattern of call it pattern of behaviour, I suppose. It was -15 last week. And -9 of those centre bounce clearances. It was repeated again today, -17 clearances and -7 centre bounces. So clearly it's an issue. Sam Mitchell addressed it in the post-game last week. I'm sure he's going to have to address it again today. But, yeah, to only have generated 8 goals from 51 inside 50s, it just speaks to the connection piece that they're missing. And I think all 3 lines, I'm not just going to put it on the mids and the forwards, I think that the defenders today really lacked that connection across the game as well. And I suppose when Mitchell talks about being a good team but not a great team, that's exactly what he's talking about. It's the inconsistencies of that connection piece and not being able week to week to fix something that doesn't quite go right for them is going to be a big concern for them. The positive is that round 11? They do have time and they have banked some wins early to be able to put those away and go to work, moving forward. But conversely, Brisbane will walk away from this absolutely ecstatic with the way that they played, particularly in the back end of the game. We know it's been, and we spoke about it through the course of the game, that they've fallen away in the back end after establishing a pretty healthy lead in the first half. And for them today, we saw some really good efforts down the stretch, defensively in particular.
And the Brisbane Lions players are making sure that Chris Fagan gets his moment here. Harris Andrews and Darcy Gardner were trying to get underneath him and lift him up, the way that players get cheered from the ground. But the Lions here showing how much they love this man. 200 games coached today for Chris Fagan, and they form a guard of honour to let him lead them off the ground. It is one of the great stories of the modern era of footy. So Chris Fagan leads the Lions down the race, and I mentioned it during the call. As soon as I saw that post-game press conference after the Gabba loss, where he basically said, OK, I forgave the group for a flat one down in Hobart, but the last quarter against the D's wasn't good enough today. We'll get into the rooms. I want to get inside the four walls of the club during the week, because I reckon it was one where the old man went to work on his pupils and said, hold on, come on, and look at the response today.
Yeah, as a senior group, when your effort and your hunger is questioned, I reckon that's going to sting a bit, and probably speaks to the way that Fagan knows how well his group can respond to a little poke of criticism publicly. And when you see the result like you do today, I'd say they've got that pretty right.
Here's a text. Please send us your name when you text us. Thanks for the call. I'm a Hawks fan, but actually not surprised. They have not looked good as this year, as the hype would suggest. Question, should Sicily be relegated for a few weeks or at least lose the captaincy? Interesting. Well,
cool,
yeah. We'll have a thought on that, because we want to get down to Poppy Penny as the Lions come into the rooms after a 33-point win over Hawthorn.
They're trying to throw a little bit of Gatorade, a little bit of a sports drink on the coach there. They've got him in the huddle getting ready to sing the song, waiting for the last few players. We've got Harris Andrews marching past me now, getting in. We're waiting for the last of the players to join the song, and here they are.
We are the pride of Brisbane town. When we grow up, we'll come ready. We will always fight for victory. On joy in the sun, of the wild, the Lions, we'll kick the winning song.
We'll stay close, Poppy. Shout out when you've got one of the players from the rooms. And so, as mentioned, it's now 4 wins in a row at the MCG for an interstate club which doesn't play here often, and it was one of the talking points of the last couple of years for the Lions, their inability to consistently win here. So you've got the preliminary final of last year against Geelong, then the grand final where they tailed up Sydney, won the flag, Richmond earlier this year, and now Hawthorn today. So the previous 4 games in a row that Brisbane won at the MCG, that run was ended by Port Adelaide's grand final win in 2004. So it was preliminary final 04, 2 round games in 04, and the third leg of the three-peat when they beat Collingwood in 2003. So basically the new era has emulated that old great era, and of course in the lead into the flag last year we heard about the likes of Jonathan Brown and Simon Black telling the current group it's time for you guys to be the story instead of talking about us. Well, they're starting to do what that group did 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a ground that you want to feel good at when you come here and play. Clearly we know that when the whips are cracking later in the year, that to win a flag you've got to come here and to do it. So for them to start to build that belief and that confidence when they come to this ground, that they can create a little bit of a fortress for themselves. That's going to be really important for sure.
Well, just to remind you of the fixtures next week, so Collingwood awaits Hawthorn here. Brisbane plays Thursday night footy against Essendon. Back-to-back losses for the Hawks. And just back to that question about Sicily, OG fans can be tough. What do you reckon, Chad? I know he hasn't had as consistent a year as he would have hoped, but is it? Here's the question: is it a matter of he's out of form, or it's just a guy that when you swung from one end to the other, sometimes it can be hard to find your rhythm?
I think it's maybe a little bit of both truths in that, and I think for me it's he's adjusting to 2 tall backs coming in. So Battle, Barris, 2 intercept markers, and that's taking away from Sis's game. So he's playing on a lot of the talls, normally gets a lot of the ball. Now he's not the focal point in the defensive 6. He needs to find a way to impact. More thoughts, keep them coming in. 0437 774 774, that number 0437 774 774. Let's get back to Poppy in the Brisbane rooms.
That's it. I'm with Will Ashcroft in the Brisbane rooms. Will, it's been a down couple of weeks for you guys. How pleasing was this response?
Yeah, it was massive. I think, in the week, Fagan's probably a bit more on edge than he usually is, and I think we all were, to be honest, to dish up those 2 performances the last couple of weeks. Hasn't been where we want it to be. We went to work this week on just doing the basics really well and locking it on our system. And when we've been challenged in different years, like last year at different times, and then this little patch here, and just double down on those things, and luckily we did them today, which is good. What
was Fagan asking of you this week? Because obviously last week was not obviously not the performance you wanted to turn in. So what kind of, you said a little bit of a different approach from him this week. What energy was that?
Yeah, I think, as I said, just the basics in the contest and not playing hoping football, and that's something that's a very key word we used all week is not to play hoping football. You can, weigh it out a little bit at times when, you think it's just going to happen, and that's across all three lines. So, yeah, we went to work on, the contest on all three lines, the defensive side of the ball, and still being bold and aggressive in our ball movement because we have so many guys who can run and take the game on and we score that way. So, yeah, just doing those three things really well and bouncing back on that.
On your coach, it's his 200th game in charge of the Lions. What has he meant to you and for your career?
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. I've only had him in my short career as head coach, and from day one he was so welcoming, like the whole club and boys were. And it's public knowledge he's a bit of a father figure, and for the younger boys like myself, he 100% is that. And hard on us at different times to get the best out of us, and really caring and considerate off the field. So yeah, he's unbelievable, and credit to what he's done from an individual standpoint as a coach in the AFL up to this point. He's still got so much to go.
This is the fourth win on the trot at the MCG for you and your Lions. What is it about this ground? What is it that brings out the best in you guys?
Yeah, we love playing here. I think it suits how we want to play, and I think since the grand final, we're just taking it in our stride and loving coming here because we don't get a whole lot of games here from year to year. So yeah, just playing our way, playing bold, buying into defensive things, and the trip to play at the MCG is it's a kid's dream. It's always my dream when I was younger. So to be playing here when we get the opportunity, we're all buzzing and ready to go.
With Will Ashcroft in the victorious Brisbane Lions rooms. Will, I'm going to throw you upstairs to Quentin Hull, Joel Peterson, Chad Wingard and Kez Peterson.
Will, Chad Wingard here, mate. Congrats on the win, and obviously very well played. I just want to speak about Sir Doug Nicholls' rounds. Callum Archie, one of your teammates, dominated today, kicking 4 goals, but how special was that, hearing his story during the week? Obviously, his family designed the Guernsey. Can you speak to us a little bit about that during the week?
Yeah, it's very special, and I love these opportunities to learn so much from our Indigenous players, and it's been, for the last 2 weeks, it's been a focus, obviously, in meetings and that sort of stuff. Kitty, Cal and Charlie, we love them so much as players, but as people as well off the field. They bring so much to our football club, as I said, on and off the field. So yeah, we love that, and I love learning so much and playing in these games.
And obviously coming off the grand final win and having a couple sluggish performances the last couple of weeks, but as a midfield unit, do you feel like this game tonight, the dominant display by a whole range of players, do you feel like that was a real confidence booster? Do you feel like you're back on track in terms of a midfield unit?
Yeah, I think we're always confident. We know that our process stands up, and we want to keep bringing it. It's just when, as I said before, we go away and play that hoping brand and think someone else is going to do it. When we're not buying into our principles and on edge all the time, no matter who we're playing, how much we're up by, how much we're down by, where we're playing, it's really important that we just keep buying into them, and that's what Bruce, our midfield coach, harps on about all the time when it's going well or when it's going poorly, and the more we can do that, that's cut out, I think.
Will, it's Karen. Will, it's Karen Peterson up here. Congratulations on the win and obviously your performance tonight. I'm keen to understand throughout the week. We touched on a little bit just in that the post game about how Fagan publicly kind of criticised the effort and the hunger of the group, particularly in the last term of last game. I'm just wondering how much of the week is driven by the leaders versus the coaching staff. Can you maybe just touch on, was that spoken about, or did the leaders just go about their business and get the group where they needed to be?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of both, and our leaders have a lot of pride in the leadership that they bring to the club week to week, and obviously, as I said before, Fags was up and about and on edge and pushing those messages across to us, but absolutely on the leaders, in our main training on Thursday and different discussions in and around the club. Those messages are being pushed on as well. So, it's definitely a collective effort, and as I said, they have a lot of pride in what they do and how they go about it. So they were definitely probably similar to Fags this week, on edge and really trying to get the best out of themselves and the little boys.
And a fair bit of success came your way, to say the least, last year. What have you gone to work on the first half of this year to improve on your performances on last year?
Yeah, I think for me, when I came back from my knee, it sort of was a bit of a slow burn to get back to some fitness and all the things that come with AFL football. You sort of can't, rectify that in 10 months of rehab. So to get to that point at the back end of last year, I was playing some good footy, and then just about consistency and building on my strengths, and also just buying into the defensive stuff and how I can be, a more inside-outside player, but also a defensive two-way player. So just keeping on building on that and then doubling down on my strengths to keep bringing as much impact as I can week to week and adding to our midfield group.
Will Ashcroft with us from the Brisbane Rooms. It's Quentin Hull here. Will, just a couple of quick ones before I let you go. Firstly, how's the Big O going, Oscar McInerney? Because we've heard issues around a potential back injury. I know Darcy Fort did the job today, so you're among the midfield group. What's the story with Oscar?
Yeah, he's a warrior. He's a trooper for us, and he always has been. And I think he's got a bit of a sore back potentially. I'm not too across all of the details, but he'll get himself right. And I'm not sure exactly when he's ready to go, but he can't be too far off. So he's doing all the right things in the background to get himself right and liaising with the medical team and the coaches and doing everything he can to get himself right. And I've no doubt he'll be back very shortly.
And a couple of interesting ones for you. Did you have a clear air year before Mum and Dad moved back up to Brisbane? What's it like having them back around town now that little bro's in town as well?
Yeah, no, well, they're living on the Goldie, so it's good. They sort of have their own life down there, and Levi and I are living together in Brisbane, so it's good fun. We can still catch up at dinners and spend a bit of time together, but also build a life in Brisbane and enjoy that as well. And Levi's loving being out of home, and he's very independent and loves to spend time with him.
And how does Lockie Neal survive the Ashcroft sandwich? Locker 8, Locker 10, Locker 9's the dual Brownlow medalist in between.
Yeah, it's good fun. We have a lot of fun chats about all sorts of different things day to day. It's good. It's a good environment to be in. We've got a little corner in our at Brighton Homes Arena, and so cruise around there and have a bit of a laugh from time to time. So it's good fun.
Hey Will, did you and Levi run around the backyard pretending like it was the MCG, and what's it like to be out there together on the big stage? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we did. For sure. When we were growing up, Dad always mowed out a cricket pitch, but also a footy field, and we played every sport under the sun, and we always commentated and pretended like we were the MCG when we were really young. So went to countless grand finals when we were really young, right up until I got drafted, and then it's obviously what happened last year, and hopefully we can get back there again this year and I can play with my brother there, so that'll be amazing.
Thanks for your time, Will. Well done today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's Will Ashcroft from the Brisbane Rooms. The Lions have won this one by 33 points. They're now 8 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses ahead of Thursday night footy at the Gabba, where they take on Essendon. Back-to-back losses for the Hawks. 7 wins, 4 losses. Brisbane 14-9-93 to Hawthorn 8-12-60. A reminder that we've still got 2 games to come for you on Saturday footy on ABC Sport as far as the AFL is concerned. And repeating the late news in Melbourne for the game at Docklands between North Melbourne and Collingwood, 2 late changes for the Magpies. Scott Pendlebury is a late change, almost a scratching at the barrier, so to speak. That was after the team lists were submitted. He is out with illness, replaced by Will Parker. And earlier we had the news that Bobby Hill was not playing, with Oleg Markov coming into the team from outside of the original squad of emergencies even. So scratch Pendlebury, scratch Hill, Markov and Parker to play for the Magpies against North Melbourne. We'll be heading there in about 15 minutes, or elsewhere, getting out west for Wadyalup against Yartabolti. The Dockers are taking on the Power over in Perth, and you can make your choice on the ABC Listen app as to which game you want to hear. If the game that you don't want to hear is on the radio where you live. Now, the numbers before we get votes and continuing wrap up here. By the way, before I go to that, a couple of texts here. Michael in Forest Hill, he texts, I can't see the Hawks winning against Collingwood or the Bulldogs at Docklands. Maybe against the Crows in Tassie in 3 weeks' time. I reckon Hawthorn around a 7th or 8th team, says Michael in Forest Hill. Well, beaten in back-to-back weeks. Paralysis by analysis, says Andy from Wodonga. Get the pill, use it. Kick straight in front of goals. Interviewing players and coaches is pointless. All you get is well-worn cliches. I think Will gave us a bit more than that, Andy. It was okay.
Yeah, no, I thought he was okay. I mean,
gave us a bit of substance about the bake, basically.
We chose a guy that's obviously been around
he's very
the system
well polished
for very long,
yeah.
So he knows what to say at the right time.
Hi all, and cheers to Chad with his astute observations. I'm a mad Hawks fan and agree they have lacked spark this year so far. They are certainly not the same side without Will Day. Thank you to Phil from Central Victoria for that text. And you spoke about the forward line, and it seems like Mitch Lewis has been less there than more there, but he's still, I think, at least a month away.
Yeah, he just had a calf injury, so he's a little bit of a setback, which happened to me when I did my Achilles. I did my calf because it's a bit weaker and you're trying to get back through the rehab process, but he would be a big in for him. It was interesting with Kelshire, bringing him in last week against up there, and obviously they had a 5-day break, the club, but it was never going to suit him playing up there in terms of those conditions. So I would have loved him to play this game rather than the one up there. Obviously, Gunston didn't play. He still had 3 shots, but didn't play his best. Chol didn't play his best. So they just need to find their right mix, especially in the midfield.
What's your inside mail? Is it just old man sore back for Luke Brewster, or is there something there that's going to keep him out for a bit longer, or is he just being managed?
I think he's just being managed. I also don't think he's...
And I say that with tongue in cheek.
Yeah, no, sure. I get it, but I'm not sure if he's on the cusp, right? He's not there. He's not in their best 2 small forwards right now. You've got Watson, Ginnivan, C-Mac. You've got some players that are younger and got more energy. So is it managing him when he's sore? Is it smart playing him when he's just a little bit sore? No, you've got to make sure that he was a great sub last year for him. So maybe they get back to that role.
And I think the concern, Chad and Kez on this as well, with the Hawks, there was almost the sense... And we heard Jack Gunston speak about it. He didn't think he was going to be playing as prominent a role. He was more so there as the senior pro to help show everyone how to go about it. And maybe that is the concern. That we know that the power of the small forwards, Chad, it's a craft that you excelled at. So, Kez, what's the regular way home for the Hawks to kick those winning scores?
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting point. Whether Gunston, and he's exploded out of the blocks to start the year, been really, really important for them, whether he was going to be able to sustain that for the whole year, and maybe they were thinking that it was going to be Kelshire coming in, or another forward that was going to step up, whether it was Chol or Mitch Lewis making his way back in, and then Gunston could fall back into that sort of senior pro role that he was talking about. It's a really interesting one. I suppose his body and the way that it holds up is going to be a big factor in that if he cops an injury or needs to rest his body throughout the season, which I think is going to be pretty important for him, given his age and his experience and those sort of things. So, yeah, clearly they haven't got that mix right, and whether it is sticking with Deer or whether he pulled up sore, when we'd never know sitting on the outside. But yeah, they've got some work to do for sure.
2 goals, 3 in the VFL today for Kelshire from 9 disposals. An interesting one's Dylan Moore, All-Australian last year. He's not having a terrible year by any standards, but so last year he was 10th in the competition for the rate of their scores he was involved in. So he was involved in nearly 30% of Hawthorn's scores. So far this year, that's down 8%. So he's down around 22, which is sort of, that's not outstanding by any stretch of the imagination. Kicked 36 goals last year. So far he's got 11 goals, 7 on the season. So he was a real fire starter for them last year. And for whatever reason so far this year, Chad, he hasn't been able to, whether that's system and some of the players around him, but he's one who had a big influence for Hawthorn last year and hasn't had the same this year.
To be honest, he looks sore. He actually got subbed off a couple of weeks ago with his shoulder, and looks like he's carrying some sort of injury. But like you said, he is playing a little bit more on ball. He doesn't look like he's getting as many marks. He's not actually getting a lot of marks out, so he's not running from D50 and getting those outlet kicks. He got so many of them last year, and that's why he got around the 20 disposals. And he still kicked goals because of his work rate. But again, it does look a little bit sore, and it is tiring to play the amount of games he has in a row. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in the coming weeks.
That's Chad Wingard, Kaz Peterson, along with Joel Peterson, Quentin Hull, wrapping up a 33-point win for Brisbane over Hawthorn. The Lions 14-9-93 to the Hawks 8-12-60. And really off the back of that 7-goal blitz in the second quarter, where they kicked the last 4 goals of that term. The scores were basically level 23 minutes into the second quarter.
I did the numbers. So that was when Charlie Cameron's burst started. 3 minutes and 2 seconds, 3 goals.
3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yep. So
that's of the count up clock, not of actual
so I think
playing
it was
time.
23:43 to 26:45.
So
it's the 3 minutes and 2 seconds in which he kicked those 3 goals.
He's almost kicked 3. What is it? A minute between goals?
Yeah, something like that.
So he's sort of kicked 3 goals in 30 seconds, almost, of the countdown clock. I'll have to. I heard Ben Cameron talking about time in the game and so forth. He had the stopwatch on last night. So
we didn't have massively long quarters today. Second quarter was 32 minutes and 26 seconds, but the last quarter was 28 minutes or so. Just on some of these numbers too, I like sort of where these teams are scoring from. So Brisbane today, 7 goals, 3 out of their defensive half. They're one of the best teams in the competition for that so far this season. Hawthorn, 2 goals, 5 out of the defensive half. And the stoppage game we talked about, that clearance game, big negative there for Hawthorn today. Brisbane kicked 5 goals, 5 from stoppage. Hawthorn, 1 goal, 3.
And the Lions fans will think, 14 goals, 9, good. But it's still, they should have won by more. I mean, there was a couple of bad misses from Calamachi. Cam Rayner missed a couple that, goal kicking, you know the art, Chad, but there's the difference between ones that you sort of think, okay, fair enough. But there was about 5 today where maybe you forgive one of those misses between Archie and Rayner, and they missed all 5 of them. They really should. That should have been an extra 4 goals.
Yeah, and I think about Hawthorn on the other side. I reckon they were taking shots they shouldn't have taken. I mean, CJ taking 2 shots from outside 50, not making the distance, and not looking to find another player. And then you look at Brisbane, who were looking for better shots, and they just missed easier shots.
Damn license statistics. Dane Zorko led all comers with 33 disposals. He fell 4 metres short of joining the 1K club.
He didn't get it again after that stoppage in the back pocket.
996 metres. And I'll say the Zork, he didn't deserve it today. There were about 5 clangers as well. He contributed to a couple of turnover goals. So 33 for Zorko. Lockie Neal just chalk up another 32 disposals and 5 clearances. Will Ashcroft, 26 disposals. Hugh McCluggage. So Will Ashcroft, 8 clearances. Hugh McCluggage, 11 clearances and 24 touches. And then Levi with 22. That's the top 5 for Brisbane. For the Hawks, Amon with 29, Morrison 28, and Battle, Weddle and Newcomb 23. Warple had 23 as well. Overall, disposal count, the Hawks had 3 more, 369 to 366, so nothing in that. Clearances in the end were Brisbane 41, Hawthorn 24. Plus 17.
Tackle count's interesting too. Brisbane 59, Hawthorn 36.
23 an advantage there. Inside 50's only plus 2, but won by 33.
I want to go back to the kick-ins. I don't think there should be disposals or metres gained, because he would have had every single one today. And if he got in a 1,000-metre club, it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing, kick-ins, and it shouldn't be a disposal. It shouldn't be a metres gained, because it's a free kick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that.
Just chalk up 60 metres. Just waltz in and...
Yeah, and what did he have? We would have had probably 8 or 9 of them.
Kick it to a pack.
Yeah.
There's a number of these things that we could talk about. Who's on votes duty, by the way?
Oh, that was a handball.
I can help you. I can do it. What do you reckon?
Wingard lightning hand pass out of the pack to Peterson.
I always do start preparing just in case, because Berkey does that to me a lot.
I'll give you a little bit of the housekeeping of the other games. So the 2 late changes, of course, for Collingwood and North Melbourne tonight. So no Pendlebury and no Bobby Hill. Will Parker and Oleg Markov are in. Oleg Markov will start as the sub for Collingwood. Zach Fisher to start as the sub for North Melbourne. No late changes between Walyulup and Yada Bulti. So Bailey Banfield the sub for the 2nd week in a row for the Dockers, and Hugh Jackson on debut is the sub for the Power.
There's your thinking time, Kez.
Geez, that was quick, wasn't it?
Yep.
No. We've done it by committee up here, so we're going all right. We're going all right. We've given... Look, in all seriousness, if I could give half votes out today, I probably would, because I don't think anyone had a super outstanding game, and we probably could have given it to 5 or 6 players, all from Brisbane for what it's worth. I don't think anyone from Hawthorn really earned too much. So we've given 1 vote to Hugh McCluggage. He's had 24 touches and 11 clearances. He really was, quite good around the stoppages. He had 6 tackles as well. And 8 score involvements, which is a pretty decent game for someone who plays on the inside and outside. I'm really enjoying his work on the inside this season as well. Hard to go past Lockie Neal for 2 votes. He's had 32 touches. He was really instrumental in that 3rd term. Really got the ball moving for Brisbane. He's gone at 70%. He's had 5 clearances himself, 5 tackles, almost 460 metres gained, 5 score involvements, and we've gone 3 votes for Calamachi. He's had 20 touches, he kicked 4 goals, 10 marks himself, and 8 score involvements. He was really good, and it wasn't just his work inside forward 50. I really enjoyed his work up the ground. He took a couple of great grabs. in big contests, big one-on-one contests around the ground, and didn't really waste a disposal today. So 3 votes Callum Archie, 2 votes to Lachie Neale, 1 vote to Hugh McCluggage.
Thank you, Karen Peterson, in committee with Chad Wingard. And Callum Archie, I think he's just one of those players, really did shine last September. But, boy, what a beautiful magnet he is for Chris Fagan. I don't think now he's going to be using him down half-back as much, particularly with what's the avenue to goal without Joe Danaher look like? Well, what it looks like is Archie added to Morris, waiting for Lohmann to get hot. Charlie Cameron, as much as he kicked his 3 goals today, he's still not affecting games the way that he does at his best, but a spurt was enough for him today.
Yeah, it was, and he played his part today. But just speaking on Archie, he's such a challenging matchup because he's very, very good aerially, and he's incredibly good once the ball hits the ground, and the speed. I called it at one point. He made Sicily look a little bit silly when the ball hit the ground. He just ran straight past him, and it wasn't because Sicily wasn't working hard enough. It was just that Archie was just so much faster than him and ran straight past him. So yeah, look, what a luxury for Brisbane to have someone like him playing across the half-forward line.
Pies or Kangas across town?
Oh, I think Pies will get that done pretty easy.
Yep, Chad?
Yeah, I'm going to ditto.
By the way, 3 votes again to everyone who cleaned up at Docklands after the game earlier today, which, by the way, if you missed it, Greater Western Sydney beat Carlton by 28 points. What about, which Port Adelaide turns up over in the West? Oh. Which Fremantle turns up in that game? Walyulup, Yartabulti to play.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's those 2 teams. I've got trust issues from both. They make me nervous, and fan base would be feeling so. I mean, it's over in Optus Stadium, so I think that gives Freo the edge. But I mean, I've looked at Yartabulti like Port Adelaide. They're just frustrating. They've got such good weapons, but for me, it's their mentality. Their losses, their average margin for losing is 48 points. So that just shows me that they just give up. I mean, you think about Hawthorn today. They still fought. It was 33 points, but they fought the whole way. It's a good team. Port Adelaide just give up and just throw the toys out of the cot. And it's really uncharacteristic for a team that was in deep finals last year. And they smashed Hawthorn at Gather-Round. I thought, this team is back. This is the team that you expected from the start of the season. And Kenny, again, is under fire. And like I said, two team in the same state. It's going to be really hard to ignore some of the signs there. So
both of those games are available on the ABC Listen app. Depending on where you're listening, you'll get either. But the choice is always yours, the ABC AFL button or the AFL Extra button. Just before we sign off here, Newcastle has beaten Penrith in the first of the NRL games today. The Knights 25 beat the Panthers 6. Next up, Roosters and Sharks. Thanks, Petersons. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Jules on the faders, and to Poppy downstairs. Brisbane by 33 points. A great way to celebrate Chris Fagan's 200th game as coach. Saturday footy about to continue to roll on here on ABC Sport. Wherever you're heading, enjoy the rest of the night's football.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, the World Test Championship, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app.